Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 285 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Still alive, still kicking. As always, I'm joined by Lord Cognito. How are you doing today, good sir?
Doing good. I'm doing good. This is the fun part.
Yes, I'm having a blast.
I'm having a blast right now. But all jokes aside, yeah, like we were saying before we started, man, it's just kind of like I was living my best last night for the first time in like a month, where I was just like, I didn't have to play something because I had to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just get to do what I want. I had an old school, like, high school moment. I'm going to blaze video games to the light. The morning light comes out.
Hell yeah. What were you playing?
Oh my! I mean, obviously the usual comfort foods, but obviously we'll get into it.
Yeah,
we'll get into it. But yeah, man, it felt good. It's been that long, and I was like, I was in that
good
Zen state. Like I was like, yeah. So we'll get into it. Most of y'all know what my Zen state food games are, so it is what it is. But yeah, man. But then I got sort of message from my mans. I'm like, okay. I got him. You know what I'm saying? I'll stop being a degenerate for a little bit. try to be responsible.
I appreciate it. Yeah, you can see, at least in my set, it's daytime.
Rare.
We're recording in the daytime. How about that? It's a little bit, I mean, this really isn't really that early. It's 3:40 right now as we record. It's normally we're a few hours after the fact, but I texted Cog, said, I got a meeting tonight. I said, what can we do about a little slightly earlier Duke? A man had me on lockdown, as he always does, which is super appreciated. I'm doing quite well. I just booked a trip to Europe. So, yeah. Gamescom. Where that dude after Summer Game says, I'm like, no. I'm doing it now.
You going to Gamescom?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. I gotta tell Laurel, man, because right now we still a little behind on our financial commitments.
So dude,
I gotta tell Laurel, we gotta turn. Maddie gotta be there. We gotta be there.
Yeah, we pulled out of the savings. I was just like, it's like I'm getting one back. Getting one back.
Let's go.
So I'm very excited though. So feeling good. A little surreal. Never been. I mean, the most out of the country I've been is Edmonton. You know, so this is gonna be like weird moment for me. I don't know how I'm gonna get around, how I'm gonna do any of this, but I'm going.
Oh, this is dope. Yeah, the Rob got to be there because we got to figure this thing out together.
A lot of LSM family might be there. I think.
Interesting.
For sure, Locke will be there.
Oh, that's right. That's
home territory.
That's home territory. That makes sense. Oh, I want to meet Locke.
Yeah,
man. Okay.
Looking forward to it, but that's about all the good news we got this week. Let's get
right into it.
Yeah, let's get right into it. We got to address the audience. This is becoming quite widespread now. This was originally an in-joke, but when I start seeing it pop up on our respective non-gaming oriented tweets, random tags where conversations that don't really involve us, here it is. Comments. There it is, the Green Reaper. We got the writing from Nevitz. He says, Dukes, why did you have to have Brad on? We were doing so well. And I got to admit, when the news even broke last week about the Xbox reset, we saw layoffs are coming. We're like, okay, we've been here before, but like, did you expect it to get this bad? Did we really think Brad was going to be that much of a wreck? I think in my wildest dreams, I was like, surely not. This might be the war. As we'll get into with the news later in the episode, this might be the worst we ever see. It actually might be nuclear. Cog, how are we feeling about the Green Reaper right now? What is the status on bringing this guy back? Do we do it?
I mean, listen, I'm a firm believer you have to eventually exercise demons. You have to get through some things that you fear that you look. His reputation precedes itself. We know what the man is capable of. We know the history. But I don't want to run from my problems. I don't want to. I don't. That's why when I saw him, I said, bro, I'm not supposed to take a picture with you, prior to the showcase. You know what I'm saying? So on one hand, I felt testing the curse was a success because I was like, we saw before, took the picture, showcase was good. So I'm like, yo, we're on our way. But then obviously the subscription. So we're not all the way out of the thing yet. But yeah, man, look, we got to figure this out. At some point, we got to feel safe as humans and Xbox fans.
One of the top comments on our Patreon post is like, dude, it's actually getting scary now. Like people are starting to get a little, okay, this was a joke at first, but like now he's like 10 for 10. It's starting to just like we're having it happen live. And I agree. I mean, it's a little like, it's one of those things where I respect you for testing the curse. But for me, it's like if my friend said, the house is haunted, I'm not stepping in the haunted house, right? Like, I don't want to, you might see a ghost. It's like, well, I'd rather that chance be zero. I don't need to step out haunted territory, right?
You don't want to be whistling by the cemetery. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I got you.
So, I don't know. I got to really feel it out with Brad. We had a great game plan going in. We let Xbox build momentum. We brought him in when they were at a strong point. Great showcase. You could argue that your picture with him led to the Call of Duty finale. There is a level of that we could consider. But I got to really feel out what the audience is thinking here. When Brad steps back in, do we wait for them to return to a position of strength? Do we just kind of, wring it out? I'm thinking of like a wet towel. Like we're really wringing it dry here. Like, all right, Brad, get all the cursed energy out and just hit them with everything you've got. Bring him back on like as soon as, next week or something like that? Or do we just keep it as tradition and when the news hits end of this month, early July, all right, Brad, come on the show. I got to see what the audience is thinking about how we handled the Green Reaper, because clearly I don't know if I did a great job.
Listen, man, it was one of the most iconic episodes of Defining Duke ever. It really was. Like the timing, the reaction, his sheepish face, just sitting there, just knowing what he's doing. And then when you did the lap, and then when I said I lost it rewatching it. That's how funny it is. I was like, yo, this is a clip for the ages, right? So I think for me, I'm still in we sports guys, right?
Yeah.
Think of the old Red Sox. Their curse, remember? Curse of the Bambino. You haven't won since you know what I mean? So you got to keep fighting through it. And eventually you conquer this demon, but it's going to be up to this regime. We don't know if they're capable of that, but we're going to see.
Yes.
We're going to see.
We will see. You guys let us know, whether it be on patreon.com/laststandmedia. You can write in for our early ad-free access episodes. I said access, but same thing. Which goes live on Thursdays over there. Otherwise, we'll see you on Sundays, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, we're there. But write in, let us know what we do with the Green Reaper. Otherwise, we've got one other bit of housekeeping here for LSM to address here. This comes from Michael Welter. He writes, Colin is yelling at you on his solo stream right now, Maddie. You better start deleting these threads when they're done. Colin is losing it without Dustin. So has this made its way to you yet? This scolding we received?
Not. What's going on? I didn't know about this.
Okay, so while I'm streaming yesterday, I'm getting a lot of messages coming in being like, Maddie, delete your threads. Maddie, take care of the Patreon post. Maddie this, Maddie that. A lot of demands being made of me. I'm like, what in tarnation's going on here, right? So I get pointed to a little Lockmort highlight reel, and I see Colin's having a meltdown on his stream because nothing's going right because he doesn't have Dustin to manage any of this.
That's like me without Attic.
Yeah. And so he's like, why did Dustin have to have sex? This is unbelievable. Like he just had to do this. And I was like, yeah, fair point. Why did Dustin have to go and do that to Colin? Now, with all of this in mind, though, this clip did not include Colin's freak out at me. So I had to go to the stream. While I was writing this show, I'm just sitting there listening, like, when's Colin going to name drop me? Like, I gotta see, like, what did I do?
Yeah.
And so I look back at it, and it turns out that my Patreon post, my thread for the questions that we get from the audience was there as he was producing the post for the stream to promote it to the patrons who want to see it there. And he was like, delete the post. He's like, why do I always have to delete the post? Now, this is something that has gone on unspoken for years. This is years of resent, I think, from Colin coming out at me, and I had no idea. I need to make this clear to the audience, right? I didn't even go to Colin directly. I had nothing to say to him after he dragged my name through the mud. I was like, I gotta defend myself on my platform.
Let's go.
So let me explain what happens here. All right.
Yeah, let's get the deep lore.
It was my understanding that Dustin Furman, executive producer of Last Stand Media, who handles such business as deleting posts, was taking care of that. So every week I would, as you can hear the lawnmower going by, I would post on Patreon, hey guys, it's thread time. The thing I harass you guys about occasionally. I'm like, hey,
Hyphy.
Write in. Yeah, of course, keep it topical, right? We post that every week. When I post it, I go and collect your questions every Tuesday as I'm writing the script. And then every Wednesday, I try to sweep back in, see if there's any new ones that fill in the gaps, ask questions that we haven't really considered, et cetera, et cetera. And then that's it. To me, the production part is now going into defining Duke. And then after the show, I sit down and we go into our LSM Discord channel. I write the title. I write the description. I give Dustin the thumbnail details, or in this case, Jimmy Champagne.
Shout out to Jimmy.
And then that's it. Job's done. And as far as I know, the Patreon post was always handled by, I thought it was Dustin. I did not realize that for, I guess, what sounds like years, Colin has just been coming in and deleting this.
Wait. Okay, this is wild. Okay, I didn't know this.
So on this stream, he's like, delete your post, Matt. Delete the post. And I'm like, I didn't know. I know it's literally nothing. I can. But I also didn't know this was part of the job. I really didn't. I thought this was that was part of Dustin. Like Dustin manages the Patreon. Colin manages the Patreon. I'm here as a host. I don't want to touch or delete or archive anything. Right. I already feel a little nervous posting on there. I always triple check it because I'm like, I don't want to, this is their business. I don't I'm part of it. It's like, I don't want to fuck anything up here.
Absolutely.
But it appears I've now been handed the reins of post deletion to now add on to the workload here. And I might just have to write an expose on Colin, how I'm getting crunched. The unfair working conditions of LSM. And how I'm quite struggling here. And I need a pay raise now.
You're going through it. The emotional abuse of that stream. We will never recover.
Yeah. And the thing is, Colin never told me. I didn't know this was a problem until he said it on stream.
Oh, so the millions of the people. Oh, see? This sounds like lawsuit to me.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. I might have a case here.
You might have a case, man. This never made clear.
LSM is mine. Fine. Anyway, I just wanted to address that. A lot of people were writing and saying, don't forget to delete this. And I'm like,
that's hilarious.
I thought it was taken care of, man.
Got it.
I thought I thought the maid was sleeping through and cleaning the house behind me. That's
erase that filthy defining Duke off of this.
My bad, guys. My bad. I'll take the L on this one.
This is hilarious. I'm glad you told me this. I had no idea.
Now, before we get into what we're playing, and then, of course, as we usually do with massive Xbox weeks, we don't have the little tidbits for you on how Liza P is selling, whatever. We're really just diving into the heavy hitters today. So one final brief reprieve from Xbox-induced depression comes from the One. He says, hello, Dukes. Sorry, this is not gaming related, but did you see the finals for the Knicks? I don't usually follow basketball, but I had to see the journey of this team during the playoffs and finals, especially them not being champions since 1973. And as a born and raised New Yorker, what a crazy set of games, including the fourth game coming back from a 29-point deficit. Jalen Brunson was the heart of that team, such a professional and so down to earth. I hope they build a statue in his honor after everything burns down the city and during the reconstruction. I hope you Duke saw it as well, because we all saw history that night. Hopefully the Giants and Mets get their shit together one day as well. Now, you and I are very much on the same page with basketball, but pay attention to this run. What did this mean to you at all?
Yeah, I got to thank you. It was, I've been so disenchanted with the NBA. As many knows, many constellation episodes when we used to do those and the NBA would come up. And it hurt because, as a person who played basketball, I went to Manhattan High School. Shout out to Manhattan High School Rams. I was on my way. So I was 1 year before Cam and Mace. We went to the same high school. So basketball's in my blood. I used to play it, every day. And I would have my favorite players. And coming up, getting behind a team after being a Mets fan, The Knicks were tough to watch, bro. They were really tough. The only run that I remember somewhat supporting them was when, the 90s Ewing, Oakley,
Yeah.
Mason, Starks. Oh, like they had a tough, gritty team. Pat Riley's the coach. Watch a little bit too when Jeff Van Gundy was the coach, but that run was their best. And I was just like, damn, you pull for them, but it was just like, this is the Bulls, bro. You know what I'm saying? They were always to stymie. And, Mike was Mike, and I'm a person that liked, favorite players and stuff like that. Like, basketball was weird for me because I didn't really like teams. I just had favorite players. You know what I'm saying? I had my Penny Hardaway's, my Jordans.
I was largely the same when you describe it like that. I really was. I blame games like NBA Street and whatnot, where you just got to like play as all these like dope ass dudes and some style and swag.
Yeah, same thing, man. So it's just like players. If you play the game a certain way, it's hard for me not to watch every game you play, and I would just follow the player on the team. So my Penny, my Tracy McGrady, my Derrick Rose, all that. Derrick Rose was kind of the last player that I really fell in love with. And when he got hurt, I became disenchanted. Then the rules changed, and then people were going to super team. So long story short, I was just disenchanted. So the Knicks, brutal, bro. Like that's actually kind of worse than the Mets. It's awful to be a Knicks fan. To be real with you, and I just I don't need that type of pain in my life. I got one New York team that has blue and orange, and they're doing it for me, right? So
Yeah.
now I thank you because you're like, oh, yo, have you been watching? And I'm like, no, what's going on? He's like, oh, I'm like, Maddie's watching. You inspired me. I was like, let me see. I watched the game here too, and I'm like, all right, Jalen Brunson, looks good. Team, plays hard, and just a very gritty spirit. But I'm not gonna lie, like my instinct told me finals, start tapping in.
Yeah.
And I started to watch. I'm like, yo, I saw the game. Well, what's it, game 4 or 3 with the tip in or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
When Brunson shot the 3 over Wemby and then the tip in, I was like, oh, this is magical. Oh my God. I felt it. And I will admit, when they won in the fashion they won, I teared up because I know that pain. I know what it is. 53 years. And dudes who've been Knicks fans solid, this was for y'all. Like this, and here's the thing, Matty. There's that expression that is like, if you win in New York, you're immortalized. There's nothing better than winning in New York because, bro, forget, you would think world peace happened. Bro, the city was so unified.
Oh, yeah.
And it gave me goosebumps. It gave me pride. I was like, yo, this is what it means to win it. I saw your tweet, and your tweet was so fitting. You're like, I'm a miserable fan that never won a championship. I just want to know what this feels like. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I know that. I know when your team never wins, and you sit there, you watch everyone else, and you feel like it's never going to be my day. I feel sorry for the Jet fan that came out the stadium was like, I don't even know why I support this team. Knicks fans are that. So to see the city, and then the other special thing was to see the old Knicks come out and get celebrated. The Ewings and even Spike Lee. I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, this is beautiful. This is beautiful.
A lot of history coming full circle.
Yeah. Last point, it was I would just watch clips or everybody, the cities and what it happened, Queens. You see people out top on a rooftop, the streets. They playing the game on a projector on the side of a building.
Yeah, so
streets is tore up. I'm seeing pizza men giving out free pizza. People watching games in the street. It was so magical, bro. I just cannot describe it. And we probably will never see something like that again. I was like, bro, I temporarily frauded for a second. I was like,
same.
As a secondary Knicks fan, it's my home team. Salute. Even though I wasn't there for none of the pain and the hardship.
No.
Nah, bro. Salute. They want me to come. The Knicks fans don't even care. They like, Carl, come back home. Come back home. And I'm like, look, that's maybe a step maybe too late for me. That's supreme frauding. Yeah. But I feel you. And I really, really, in my heart and my soul, loved every aspect about that run. But how did you feel? Because I thank you. If it wasn't for you, Maddie, you've been telling me yo, it's something a little different. I've been kind of watching. I'm like, really? Because we both been disenchanted. So you got me to tap in.
Once OKC was gone, the scene was safe for sure. I mere's so many highlight reels of them just I mean, to say foul baiting, I mean, it's just like,
Bro.
it's disgraceful. It's literally insulting. Like, these dudes need to be fined into oblivion, like, until they learn how to play the sport. There's still a little bit of that. Like, Jalen was definitely taking advantage of these younger players and like just totally foul baiting them at times. But it was a little more strategic where I'm like, yeah, dude, championship on the line. I kind of get it right now. But like when these guys are pulling it up and like regular season game number 52 and they're like throwing the flops constantly, it's like, dude, get out of here. Yeah, like I mean, like you mentioned, I've been totally disenchanted with basketball, but there was definitely like the New Yorker pride kicking in of just like, I want to just see this ride out. So I mean, I watched them for the last couple of rounds, and I was like, you kind of had a feeling, dude. That was like, because I feel when I watch like any other sport, tap into the Stanley Cup or Super Bowl, whatever, like the Cinderella run always feels like it gets cut short. I feel like lately it just doesn't get completed. Like I think of Toronto getting this close to upsetting the Dodgers, right? Like I mean, everyone knew Toronto was going to be good last year, but they were like fired out of a cannon. There were so many heroics.
Yes.
Seattle Mariners were another one. Like, oh, they might actually do it. They lose in Game 7. It feels like I think of the Canadians. Like, are they going to be, or the Oilers? Who's going to break the Canadian curse for the Stanley Cup? And just all these Cinderella stories just come up in the word. Oh, the team that's like demonstrably better, was the favorite, came in, took care of business, won it all. Yeah, it's been a little disappointing in that regard. So it's been really cool, it was really cool to just see them come out on top. To obviously see the celebrations in New York was special too. I can't claim it all. The most Knicks I watched was like during the Linsanity run. Like that's like next level fraudery, bro. That's like, the one time they were hype in the 2010s, there I was.
Yes.
Because one of my best friends was just like obsessed with them. I can imagine he was over the moon with this, but before that, I mean, like I told you, I was a Celtics fan, like growing up. It's like I got on that bandwagon when I was really young because I was just favorite color is green. That's all it took.
There we go.
That's all it took. And then from there, I was there for that championship, got what I came for, and left. Thank you, Rondo. Thank you, Thank you, Pierce. Appreciate you.
Big three. Thank you.
But I agree with you that the personalities were kind of lacking in the NBA too. Like I was a huge AI fan, Vince Carter, like these were just, so cool. I don't know, inspiring.
Yes.
I love these dudes. Shaq, of course, Shaq continues to be a huge personality in the sport, but like there, that just feels very much like it was missing, but this Knicks team just embodied that completely. Like just so many cool dudes on the team, bro. Like, so yeah, just awesome run. Really cool to see. Can't claim it, refuse to claim it, frankly, just because again, it's like, when my New York team has its come up. Rangers came close. Didn't get it done though. Mets, God knows when.
God knows.
Not this season.
Definitely not this.
Not this season. But
real quick before
that happens, I will. Seeing how much of men being like, oh man, like this really is special. Imagine like I don't know how to describe it other than imagine really caring while this is happening, like being there all like I have been with the Mets, like, oh, I'm not ready for this. Like it was kind of mental preparation. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm actually gonna be able to handle this. Like if the Mets won, like,
it'll shape down. Yeah, I only had one. For me, it was 9-4 Niners, and because I was a Steve Young fan, and all the hardcore, Joe Montana, he would never win. He's half the. So when he got the monkey off the back, that hit me. But yeah, like you said, you made a good point about the Cinderella. The 9 times out of 10 it always gets cut short in this heroic valiant, but it was just too much against the,
big bad villain,
the big bad villain, and who's stacked at every position. Doesn't matter what sport, right? I think for us, the closest we came as Met fans recently was that Daniel Murphy Cespedes run with, you know what I'm saying? When we were like, yo, we had no business being there.
But the other thing I guess it's the Mets fan at all, because in 2024 we make this huge run. It's like, oh man, like Vientos is gonna be a problem for years to come. It's like, yeah, he's a fucking problem, all right. Like he's a big ass problem, but like not in the way you want a player to be a problem. Like it's just nothing panned out afterwards. So it's like we built off the Cinderella story. We got beat by the Dodgers, and like like, oh, watch out, they'll be special next year, and we sucked. We completely slapped.
Here we are.
So yeah, it's always Mets pain. Anyway. Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by Shopify. Imagine this with me, folks, because we've all been there. You're scrolling, you're shopping, you find that one thing you're looking for, add it to your cart, you go to checkout, and you see that beautiful purple button. It's nice, Easy, simple, you got what you wanted. That's what Shopify can do for your business like they do for many others, because Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the United States, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands that are just getting started. And you can get started simply with your own design studio. There are hundreds of ready-to-use templates, and Shopify will help you build your beautiful online store, and that can match your brand's style. You can get the word out there like you have your own marketing team, thanks to easy-to-create email and social media campaigns, so you can meet the customer wherever they're scrolling and strolling. And best yet, Shopify is a commerce expert with everything from managing your inventory to international shipping that'll process returns and beyond, so you can stay small business while reaching tons and tons of people. So what are you waiting for? See less carts go abandoned and more sales go with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up with your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/Duke. Go to shopify.com/Duke. That's shopify.com/Duke. Cog,
Yo,
let's talk about what games we are playing. Hit me with it. What were you burning the midnight oil with?
bro, I'm in such a zen-like state with just my simple games that give me the most joy. And be honest, I'm a weird Nintendo fan. I really analyze my habits, and I'm like, bro, you don't like anything that's popping on Nintendo. like Nintendo fans love Mario, they love Zelda, and I do like Zelda though. I will say I do like Zelda, but I'm the guy that likes Metroid. I'm the guy that likes Star Fox. You know what I'm saying? I'm the guy that likes F-Zero. I'm the Pilot Wings. I like the other stuff. And I'm like, why isn't this popping? So shout out to the Switch, man. I had to dust it, as Colin would say, the sticky switch off. And I was like, bro. He's like, yo, that Star Fox demo. I'm like, word, it's out. Maddie. I was really enjoying my time with this demo.
Oh,
Like I really like I'm a Star Fox dude. Like I'm a guy that likes, remember the old game called Wing Commander, where it's like space shooting, dog fighting, but also with the narrative where you see the little picture-in-picture of the character.
Yeah.
Where are my six? And they're like, get him off me. Or the enemy's talking to you. You death will not. So Star Fox kind of represents that in the Nintendo way. You know, Slippy and Peppy and all this foolishness. And I used to love this stuff. And I first of all, the ship design, always one of the coolest ship designs to me. I always used to love the little battle roll move, and now they just modernize things. So you're going through the controls. Rule number one, I am not playing with the mouse controls. They try to throw that in the middle of the demo. I was like,
throw it in.
We're not, turn this off. I'm not doing this while I'm playing on a hard surface. Pause. So I'm not doing that. But the second thing was like, okay, so you go through the tutorial, you do all the stuff. Narrative's cool. We talk about Pop Dukes and all that. For all the classic Star Fox fans, but it really is a glow up from the cinematics. They look really good. But then when it got to the actual mission, and you got your, your typical thing. You got your bomb. You got your hold down laser to do the auto track. You got your weapons upgrades and stuff like that. And it just felt so cool. It's like as the mission's going on, watch out. You're going through asteroid field, speed up, speed down. Hey, that looks like an enemy. And then you had your boss encounter. And I was just like, man, I cannot wait. I am so there day one. This is
nice.
It's the Cog franchise. So Nintendo fans, you know what I'm saying, Micah or Brad, y'all want me off for the Star Fox episode.
Okay.
I like Star Fox, man. I really love Star Fox. So yeah, it really impressed me. My only nitpick would be the perspective of the ship when you're going forward, like, and the cursor that you use to aim seems like off center. So it takes a little get used to, because it's not that one-to-one where it lines up. It's like at an angle. And I know why they do it, but sometimes from a control standpoint, it takes me a while to get used to it. Also, inverted is a little weird on that. No, some flight games I can do inverted, but for whatever reason, in this game, I can't. So I had to go back to standard. Up is up, down is down, that kind of thing. So just being precise with that. But one of my best features is like when you press up to do like, it's like you do like a loop the loop and go backwards in it. The way the game scales, it's fire. The ship does that. And then the other thing is also when you're in the open world and there's people coming at you, those sections, you can press down on the D-pad and then you kind of do a cinematic reverse course, and that's like it's just the production value of it is very high. So Star Fox, yes. So being that I was still on my Switch, phase,
Okay.
bro. So why Demio got the bag from Nintendo? I did not know this. So as you know the rules, if you're my favorite, I buy you on every platform. Tekken, I've done this. Destiny, I've done this. If you're my favorite, and obviously you're not, y'all know how I feel about my Demio.
Yeah.
I'll say, oh, word? Like, and we got a new character class with the Druid. And and to be honest with you, I'm a fraud with D&D. Like I'm the soapest cat. Like I don't even know what druids do. I forgot. Like they transform. Their thing is they transform into like a spiritual, like a character, like they like. So in this case, it's a bear. So they got the new quest and they got all this new quality of life stuff. We have adaptable difficulty for the levels. We have 2 new missions, a new adventure, which is super dope. This money is called the acquisition thing. It's kind of whimsical. It's kind of funny. And then we have obviously what I like that they do is when they show you a new character, you have to do a mission to kind of fight to get that character, release that character from something. So I kind of like that. So I was like, all right, let me see, what the Druid is. So as a result, what was cool about starting this mission was that, first of all, shout out to the Nintendo Switch. It looks really good. It looks really good. The port is fantastic. Little nitpick with their analog being a little too sensitive on certain things. That's my little nitpick when you want to look at the map, you want to pan the map, stuff like that. But for the most part, this is a functional Demio battle mod. The cool thing now is playing over on Nintendo. I said, you know what? Let me get out of my norms. I'm very creature of habit. I'm a guy that takes the paladin. He's very like tank-like character, but he could heal as he walks. He could do stuff like that. He also has like different type of abilities. He's more of a melee in your face, very strong DPS, high health, protect the rest of the characters. Like you fighting really strong boss, you put him in the front line, right? And then he can heal. He has these little aura of healing, aura of vitality kind of cards that are really cool, right? So that's usually the guy. That's my number 1 favorite character. But then I kind of, shout out to my Demio bros, they know, like, I kind of run with the same team. What normally would be like the bard. He'll do his little bardic inspiration. He'll spire. He'll give you more hit points. He'll put people to sleep with his little thing. Like, I'll have him. And then I'll usually have the magician who's dumb powerful, who's fireball and all. Shout out to my boy, Don, you already know who it is. That's his favorite character. And then I usually round out the 4th, sometimes with the dwarf, another tank or stuff like that. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna do classes I don't do. There's like still like 4 more classes. Bro, I started playing the assassin for the first time, the rogue. Bro, stealth car, go invisible, go around the map, sneak around. If you do back strike or blink strike, do it like double DPS because you're in stealth, and if you hit the character from behind, it's like triple that. I'm like, this character is a boss killer. Like this, I'm loving the rogue. And he looks cool, like a ninja. She looks like a ninja. She got the 2 twin knives. I was like, oh. Yeah. So I like the rogue. I'm like, all right, tried that. The character they had unlocked before is the warlock. First brother in the game, salute. You know what I'm saying? So, you can name your character. So I named him like Shadow Dancer. I was like, okay, I name him Shadow Dancer. Put him out in the field. All right, now he's weird but cool. He's all about dark magic, dark arts. He got this card called like Eye Bite or something. Like if you look at him, he can frighten you. Just his presence can frighten like many enemies or put them to sleep or paralyze them. So he's about that and putting hexes on people. So if you're fighting very strong characters, you put a hex and then it synergizes into this thing called necrotic damage. Bro, I'm just going into my build crafting with him. He's crazy powerful. He's a little, the learning curve is higher, but he's really powerful. I'm like, yo, warlock. Okay, cool. And then we get to the new character, which is actually, they already locked the new character. I had to take another new character, which was the hunter. Hunter's classic DBO, long range bow and arrow. Think Legolas, from, if the hunter is on high ground, they have the longest vision ring code to shoot people across the map. They can set traps. They have a little wolf companion. So this was the team I used to unlock the druid. So I got to do it, bro. The quest for the druid. All right, let's get the bad out the way. The thing with the game is the first demon was really dark, very serious too. Battle Marked is a little more whimsical. And some of the art style is very happy. Hey guys. And sometimes I'm like, damn, like everyone is like, hey guys. You know what I'm saying? And I want a little bit more darker. So the story, I was just like, okay, it's voice acted, it's cool. When I realized it with Battle Mark, you're not here for this deep story. You're here to get some fun quotes and stuff like that, but you're really here to play the game. So that was my thing. So I didn't like the druid's design at first. She's like you know what an orc is? You know, like an orc with the teeth and stuff like So it's like a female orc character. All right, so Maddie, I'm not gonna lie. When I did this mission, and these missions are hard, there are a lot of defend or you're getting overwhelmed by overwhelming odds surround you kind of stuff. And when you unlock her, bro, why this chick got the ability to turn into the most fearsome grizzly bear I've ever seen in my life. Bro, and the bear takes two spaces and is like 10 feet tall and does wild damage. Like if it's in bears, and you can use it as a cheat. Like your health could be low, you turn into the bear, you got like 30 hit points. You can, and they can knock you out of the bear state, stuff like that. But crazy powerful, crazy abilities. But all in all, look, a ball of a time. So now the druid is a regular in my stay. So did that, and then last but not least, my main comfort food is just back in the world of Destiny. And man, it is so much fun. It is so much quality of life. And now I've just been messing around with a lot of the new weapons and abilities, and they have these new things on the map called distortions, where you go and you kind of basically you have to unlock these. Actually, if I can start that, they give you actually. I didn't realize they gave new abilities to subclasses that were underused for a while. So if you like stasis, the stuff that freezes stuff, there's this new stasis grenade that's bad powerful. But my favorite right now is Void. Void Warlock, stand up, we eating. They got this thing where it's a melee and you put your hands together and you kind of like pause, drain the soul out of other dudes that's in your vicinity and you suck the life force out.
Okay.
It's one of those abilities.
That's awesome, dude. I love that.
Yeah, you suppress and suck them out of it, and it shows. I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing, but it's powerful. I like it. And then they've added all these new, basically every exotic in the game that never had catalyst now has it. So basically, you're relearning the game with all these new abilities. The artifact has all these build crafted abilities that you can now. Before, these were things that would only come out in a seasonal one-time thing. But now they're making a bunch of them that are now permanent and swappable. So you could really, like, they're letting you go nuts is basically the long and short of it. So, man, yeah, I'm living my best life. I'm just taking my time with the story bits, the moments of triumph. There's so much content. It's actually paralysis. And I also about paralysis, like, what do you do now? I'm in savoring mode. Nice. So, yeah. I'm living my best life, man. Those are my three. So I can set the Star Fox, DBO, Destiny. I'll get back to the stuff at one point, but I just needed my comfort food games. Yeah. And these were all comfort food for me at this time.
You're resetting, dare I say.
Yes. There we go. I reset after Summer Games.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. For me, I've been, continuing my playing of Liza P. Overture. I should have this one done today. Okay. After I'm done with all my work for the day. In what is the last area, but dude, just like it's so good. I just like no one's got them beat yet. It's so good. It's just the way they're really great storytellers while maintaining the stuff within Souls likes I really enjoy, while giving you enough power fantasy to feel really strong and defy the odds. Like I'll give an example. They're great world builders because some of the set dressing they do, like a snowy carnival that's run by destroyed, maddened puppets. Like it's just a very creepy, cool concept. You hear the music slightly playing in the background. It's just lights flickering, but the snow's falling. It's just such an atmospheric game. But then as you go, like, I'll just say deeper underground, you find cryptic labs where experiments are ongoing and more monstrous enemies, more deformed enemies are coming at you. It starts to take on this almost horror-like approach, and not like you're scared, but just like really fucked up things.
Dark, yeah.
While you're the game's not telling you the story directly. Like sit down, listen. There are cutscenes, but A lot of it's like the newly added audio logs, the readables. And so it's that combination that makes it so special. And Overture is just, in a lot of ways, I think people could take it as, oh, it's business as usual, but like that's so good and so encouraging for whatever the sequel is going to be. But a great example of what I meant by like, it has the conventions of the Souls-like games is like, yeah, like you lock on, time your parries, time your blocks right. This game has a little Bloodborne in it where when you get hit, if you go back at them, you can at least regain some of that health, but you got to be careful because they could just hit you back again. So it's got a little bit of that tug of war. So those are the conventions. But at the same time, there are things like this new weapon that I built from this DLC. I think it's called like I feel like I'm going to cross it up with a name that's from Ninja Gaiden. I think it's called like the Wind Talons. Remember in Ninja Gaiden 2, where you got the two Wolverine claws, on your hands and your feet? So in this game, they give you talons that are literally like his moveset is straight up Wolverine. Like September, sorry, I'm busy. I don't need Wolverine anymore because he can play as Wolverine in Lies of P. I'm joking, by the way, because I feel like people think I hate PlayStation games now. So I feel like I got to make it clear now. But anyway, yeah, so they give him like these claws, but they not only are like long claws, but if you hold the strong attack button, he goes like this and they go out longer and he like swipes. So there's these things called Fable attacks. You build up Fable like as you get certain upgrades for your characters, like through perfect blocks and through killing enemies and whatnot. That'll build up. And so his Fable attack for these weapons, if you mash the Y button, you just slash through so many enemies so quickly. It's the combination of the sound and the speed and the damage you deal, it's incredible. And so that ability to do that, not that FromSoft games don't give you power fantasies, by the way, they absolutely do, but this game just lets you sometimes say like, hey, you're going to spend a lot of that meter here, but like you can go straight fucking boss mode on this mob group of enemies that's giving you some trouble, or you really want to lay it on a boss, like you hit him, he's staggered, press Y, slash him, he's still down, do a backstab, and you'll do like a 10,000 damage combo. Like the game just lets you chain and stretch this damage out, where one of the beauties of the game that I think is like, I think there are bosses, like there was one, Veronique, that kicked the shit out of me. Like it was I'll try this in the morning type of bosses. And I did get her on the second try the following day. It's just so cool how that always works. But there are certain bosses where it's partially learning their patterns, but also becoming comfortable with the pattern and realizing you can get a lot more aggressive than like these bosses, like, especially the one I just described. It's a pressure test completely. Like she comes at you so fast, hits you so hard, like you're constantly like parry, dodge, parry. You're like always on the back foot. Until I realized like, yo, if I get this, like I had a sword that if you time your strong attack, it's actually a parry.
Yeah.
And so when I timed that, I just kept like knocking her ass off. And suddenly I'm chaining damage. I'm like, oh no, and you get into a flow state and then you get back at her. And that's what the game does so well. It's just that sort of string of great mechanics, well-realized, well-tested mechanics coming together into a boss fight or even the mob enemies and just making you feel really great in a way that, look, man, I've been playing this genre since Demon's Souls. Like the fact that this game recaptures that feeling, the hand sweating, the power fantasy, like I did it, and I like cursing at the TV, like that shit, the classics that this genre brings out of you. They really are doing amazing stuff here. I'll say it again, man, especially now that they've announced the complete edition, please do not miss out, because this seems like they're on the final leg now. Like this is it. And that probably, my guess is within the next year, we will know the sequel. This is the company. I'll say it's this good. You guys hear me talk about AI. I saw the job listing about AI creator. It's fine. I don't It's fine.
Bro was like, yo, this is it. I don't care what nobody talk about.
Like we always talked about the knee bend, right?
The moment. It's always going to be the moment.
This is the one. Straight up. I will say Larian probably would have been that too. But my point being is like when I see that type of job title, I'm like, But if they are producing like they're doing with this and the DLC, and if the sequel's going where I think it's going, yeah, dude. I mean, what game lets you run around as Pinocchio with Wolverine claws, and then I've got this new Legion arm that is a pump action, it's a shotgun, and you can like load the slug in there,
Like
after you
Barrett?
charge it,
Also,
more than that.
okay.
And like you can use it as a knockback, but also a dodge. So a boss was coming at me and I had the shotgun loaded and I just shot this thing as he was coming down to like swing at me.
Yeah.
And I went flying back while doing damage, staggered him as his attack missed. And it was like it was just an efficient ass dodge, but it was because I was creating that attack. This game just lets you do that. There's just nothing like it, dude. So it's phenomenal. So my only critique, AI save us in this case, dude, they got to vary up the environments a little bit. Like my man loves caverns a little too much. He like it starts great. Like here's the zoo, here's the carnival. You're like, oh, this game, is so great when it's obviously focusing on like Krot and like even when it goes to the lab and stuff. I'm like, this is still great, but it's like cavern mines. I'm like, dude, like I get it. This is DLC. Like they're not going to spend a ton of resources on this. But like also this was a critique. The one critique I had about the base game is
Which was
by the end of the game, they're like the game is so inspired, but you could tell that final area, they just like it's well designed, but just the actual artistic direction just fades. It's just not as strong. And when they are flexing those muscles, which is what I think they'll do for the sequel, I feel like, game one, asterisk, they had a game before this, but like game one, they did an amazing job, right? It's DLC. I don't think they're going to course correct everything, but I'm hoping with the sequel that it's not, I don't mind the cavern here and there, but like we got to vary it up just a little.
Vary up. Okay, gotcha.
This DLC like just is about going on further and further underground. So it's not like they could have taken you anywhere else, but I'm like,
okay,
like,
I get it.
Yeah, it's just the one thing. If I could just insult my Lord and Savior for a brief moment, there, that's all
I respect it.
Otherwise, Lies of P Overture is great. I expect to have that done tonight, tomorrow, the latest, so that'll allow me to transition nicely into a game not on my backlog, and that's Adventures of Elliot. So that's the next HD2D game. I saw reviews are coming out. I did not see the scores.
Right.
Kind of don't care. Any HD2D game gets played by me. So
I feel you.
Yeah, very excited to share more thoughts on Lies of P next week once it's done, if there are any updated thoughts.
Nice.
Other game I've been playing. All right, so
this
is something I'm trying to work on with myself. I'll be very honest with the audience. Fill in your cup, right? This is something that I think I neglect pretty often. There are a lot of things I organically, naturally do that fill my cup, like what we're doing now. My job fulfills me. The games I play for my job most times fulfill me, but I also game by a schedule, which I know is not the conventional way of doing it. And I do it to make sure I can keep up with my content while enjoying my hobby. But there are some times that you kind of just got to break the rules, break protocol a little bit, and kind of just pick up that game that's staring at you on your shelf. That's what I mean by filling my cup. I have ignored that feeling for a while. There's times where I'm impulsive with it, like what I did with Spyro last week. But Spyro's like controlled impulsivity. He's like, okay, this is like a 10-hour experience tops. This will be done. Right. Whereas a lot of what calls me in that I have been neglecting are big JRPGs, big RPGs, because I know there's another one coming this year and another one next year. And I'm just like, well, there's never a quote right time. There's always going to be another big game around the corner. But anyway, I'm explaining it a lot just to say that I'm trying to work on this with myself a little bit, where I'm not neglecting my job, while also just making sure that like there are these moments where it's like, this is really just calling to me. And I don't think it makes sense for anything I'm doing. I don't think it makes sense for content. I don't think it makes sense for my schedule, but like this particular hardware, this particular game, I want this experience because it feels great. So that's all setting up that I broke out my DS, my 3DS.
We both went to Nintendo in our dark hours.
Yes. I went to my comfort food. I went to Nintendo and I went to Pinocchio.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, so really it's Atlas, because I've been playing Shin Megami Tensei Devil's Survivor Overclocked.
Oh boy.
I see it, oh boy.
Oh boy, let's see how hard. I heard them games. Wow, crazy. But
I think you would like this one. So the first person dungeon crawling stuff, like the more hardcore OG SMT stuff, like that'll bitch slap you. This game is very tough though. So I started this game on an airplane, actually, a couple of years ago. I just had my DS with me, and I think I I think my ROG ally or something died, and so I just busted out the DS because it was like one of those things, quickly throw in the backpack, why
Mhm.
not? I played like an hour of it, really liked what I played of it, and then never touched it again. But I always was left thinking about it because um, I believe this is a game released in, I want to say 2009. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But the general idea is there's this thing called the death clock that's ongoing. You
Mhm.
get an update on your phone, and basically it's saying like you have this amount of time, and then this is what's going to happen. Someone's going to die. This is like, and so it's telling you about events, and then these group of teenagers see it's transpiring,
It's
and
Dragon Dropper vibes.
yeah, you know
I
me.
already know
The
where this is
mixture
going.
of urgency and death
Yes. Yes.
always gets me going, right? Like where I'm just like, oh, cool, this is gonna be a great story. SMT games are also, unlike Persona games for the most part, really driven by choice and consequence. So there's multiple endings that you can get. This is more turn-based, which is
I
why I
like it.
think, yeah,
Yeah, I like it. I like
I think
it.
I like it a little bit more because
Mhm.
basically it's a grid that you're on.
Mhm.
Battles are like across this kind of again more tactical grid. You can use commands for any of your demons and summon them into, for example, use charm, and then you could heal. Like basically every walkable character has two demons alongside them. And so you can use that to, for example, like what I said earlier, charm, which can heal all the demons and that character. You can use, I'm trying to remember the name of the ability, but you can basically sacrifice some of your health to guarantee critical hits when you fight someone. There are ones that allow you to like debuff. And then this is just before the fight happens. When the fight happens, then it's kind of traditional turn based. Like you find an enemy on the grid, you choose to attack them, or they choose to attack you. Just like in Persona or other SMT games, if you land a critical hit, you get to go one more time, so you can really maximize that damage. Just like any SMT game, there are enemies that just fucking hit you like a freight train.
That's what I mean.
I just got to the point, I'm very early, I get to the point where I unlock what's called skill cracking.
I just saw that on the screen while you were talking.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
like, I was saying, what's skill crack?
Yeah, so how I understand it is that basically there are these free battles you can do, and you find these demons and you basically mark them for one of the, at least right now, the three characters I have in my party. So like I name my character after myself. So if I marked this demon, and I marked a skill within that demon like health plus 10% or
Mhm.
something like that, if I kill that demon, I will get that skill and I can apply it to my character or one of my demons. So
Mm.
it's kind of a way of, it's not grinding per se, but it's a way of inheriting skills from these demons
Got
and
it.
kind of customizing your squad
Yep.
further.
Yep.
You can go on your phone in the game and you can open up the auction site where you can then buy demons that are available for sale with your maca. And so, yeah, you can like, again, you could bid against other people to get these demons. And so that's what I've also been doing to customize the squad a little bit. I think you could have up to 4 party members, and then each has 2 demons
Okay.
based on the slots I see available. But it's just like, I don't know, man. Like it's really captivating me. I think it's the technological aesthetic, like seeing everyone using flip phones makes me feel something. I like the music. Of course, yeah, like Cog obviously pointed out, like I'm a total mark for these types of stories where
So
like,
you, hello.
I mean, that's been the case since I was a teenager, is that I just realized like I think death is the most compelling thing you can have in your narrative, because like if no one's going to die, then why should I care? Because there's no worries now. And maybe
Mm.
that's a silly default for a lot of people, but that's just my simple way of explaining it, is like,
Yeah.
obviously there's much more that goes into it, but like, if I know I can lose a character, if they do a really great job at establishing like death is a real thing in our world, and not like some games do, or some just stories in general do, which is like
Mhm.
death is real, and you're like, oh my god, that person's dead, and then even some of my favorite games cower out. They're like, and they're back.
And they're back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I, like it just
Facts.
I just sticking with it. It means so much to me in
Oh,
games.
yeah.
I don't know if this game does that, but when a game is like establishing nice and early, like death,
Yeah.
tension, choice,
Mhm.
that really works for me. Again, that's why I like Danganronpa. It's just
Hell yeah.
like, okay, who gonna die next? So I'm a murder mystery junkie, if you will. But
love
yeah,
it.
this really isn't that. To be clear, it's not like a murder mystery, but it's more like a as you take actions around the map, it moves the clock forward.
Mhm.
So you have to eventually, I think, be like more selectful about where you're spending your time. Not like Persona, where it's like, am I going to hang out here or hang out there? But
Right.
like all these actions move the clock. And so there was like one point where I got caught in this, I think it was like a museum area or something in the city. And they were like, 3 people are going to freeze to death, and like a Wendigo attacked us. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, so we got to fight this like Wendigo demon. That's where I stopped. So because that Wendigo just kicked the living shit out of me, and I had to try again. That's when I went back and started skill cracking. So again, very early game, but I want to hang with it because what I really want from I'm looking at all of my handheld PCs right now. I was originally what drew me to it. What made me go, that moment you're about to like you make the decision, right? I had my PS Portal in my hand because I didn't want to play a Souls-like game like Lies of P, streaming it. If there's any latency or something and I die, like it's going to be frustrating. Okay, not going to do that. Pick up my PS Portal. I'm like, oh, I'm going to start something new. Like I already know. Now I'm like going wide. And I guess I ended up starting something new anyway. But what I like about this being a DS game and what I'm looking at my gaming handhelds for is that I really hope there's eventually a focus on getting these things smaller and a little bit more portable, because I like that. Like whenever I'm done playing with my PS Portal or my Xbox Ally or my Steam Deck when I'm in bed, like I lay this thing like on the floor next to my bed by like my like my flip flops, and like that's it. Like like it just sits there on the floor. Like it's too big for the night table next to me where I have like my book and my glass of water and everything there. So my phone's charging there. So I have no room for it. But I like my DS just like slips in my pocket, go upstairs. I grab the dog, walk him real quick, then go to bed. When I'm done, flip it, put it right next to my phone. Allows me to just like any great DS game, you bust it out real quick, play. So I really want to get to that point where maybe it's not the size of a DS or a Vita, but like close to it. Like I feel
you like smaller form factor.
Micro option, a smaller form factor that is like, you get less power out of this, but it's like truly portable. That would be great. Even if it is a streaming option, I think I'd value that a shit ton.
You've been consistent with that.
Yeah, like a PS Portal that is the size, like a little bit bigger than a Vita, and I can like put it in my pocket. I think would be more valuable than the massive hulking size of the PS Portal as it is now, and just how it can't be really placed anywhere except on top of an entertainment center for me. So I'd like that, but that's what really called me, where I'm like, you know what, I want to try this out. Like I've been really just doing a game and just a game at a time.
Yeah,
I guess last week I did break protocol a little bit, doing Lies of P Overture and Spyro at the same time. But I want to see what happens if I have like a bedtime game and then chip away. And it's not for content or anything. It's just like, just something I'm working on because I want to play it.
Absolutely.
And seeing how that goes for me. So we'll see. But I've just been drawn to, I watch a lot of YouTubers that really talk about their gaming habits. Like there's this one, I'm trying to remember her name. I stumbled upon her channel. I can't remember her name, but she I feel bad because she made a video kind of talking about how, like if gaming is healthy now, because people are talking about how playing their Nintendo DS got them away from like doom scrolling. It helped their attention.
Interesting.
And growing up, you and I know gaming's unhealthy. Go outside.
You're supposed to be.
But now because we have another evil that's far worse and actually affecting your brain in a negative way, gaming's being viewed beyond like, oh, it's helping doctors and surgeons who play games do. Beyond that, it's like, oh, this is like actually not that bad now.
Exactly.
Technically, gaming is a better, more productive thing. When I was a kid, my parents preferred I play games because I was friends with a bunch of dudes who were on drugs. So they were just like, they were just like, go ahead and play your games, dude. We'd rather you like do your thing here,
Facts.
It kept me out of trouble for sure.
Facts.
Anyway, that's kind of what got the DS in my mind, and kind of just trying to be more conscious of my gaming habits and sort of what fulfills me, but also like I wanted to see that. Sometimes I do catch myself just naturally wanting to check the phone. Like I'm totally open about that. Word. Sometimes I'm just like in the middle of a loading screen. I'm like,
bro,
like, what's wrong with me?
Yes, I was doing that, like loading screen before I was playing Destiny. Go there, play. Let's see what's going on. I was like, let me put this back down. Because exactly. For sure.
And so I'm like, look, dude, I know we live in a day and age where content's everywhere, but I was like, I really want to like actively work on this, where I don't need to go live in the fucking woods. I love technology. I love gaming. I love connecting with people. How can I like, does this help? Like, I want to try that too and see what happens there. So
absolutely. And what I learned, just to conclude too, is just that, during my play sessions, I've learned to, don't answer that phone call. Like, this is your time, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I have
It
this.
could wait. It
I
could
have
wait.
this.
Not everything is that complete urgency and just zone out. You need this, you know. And I have realized that as I'm older, turn base is my happy place.
Yeah,
I just,
totally.
bro, I'm having the most fun. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was like, why can't like, is it the best turn base? It's up there, but it's not the best. You know what I'm saying? But I was just like, it just gives me peace and I'm having so much fun and I
Yeah,
love to strategize. It just satiates so many aspects of my brain. And what I knew I liked it is that I could play it solo. It's not just the co-op joint.
yeah.
So I could do my solo and I could manage my entire party. Works a different part of the brain that I like. So yeah, that's what I'm realizing too. So yeah, you just gotta kind of lead into it, when we have the time as creators
Yeah.
to just kind of, do what we want to do
I,
sometimes.
I think what I've in assessing my tastes like this last about 8 months or so,
Mhm.
like I mentioned after Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I was like, okay, I think I'm done with open world games until Crimson Desert. And Crimson Desert really didn't hit me in the way I
Right.
wanted it to after 30 hours. I was like, all right, I don't think I'm gonna keep playing this. What
Mhm.
I've realized is I thought at that point with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I was like, oh, it's like these open world style games, but I think I actually love the long journey. I've been yearning for
Mm,
longer games now.
interesting.
I've just realized that I think open world content is less compelling to me
Okay.
now. Even with something like Crimson Desert, which is a little bit more experimental and different and not by the numbers, and I appreciate it for that. Like
Mhm.
I don't even say I have issues with it per se at this point. It's just like I don't think I'm jiving with the game, and that's all
Right,
it
yeah,
is.
it didn't yeah,
Yeah.
I understand, yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is definitely like where I want to try to play because I was looking at the games I beat this year and like
Mhm.
outside of Fallout New Vegas, I haven't done any like massive games, and I'm
Mm.
just like, okay, I want to start working on these JRPG series. Like, there's three that come to mind: Xenoblade, Shin
Ooh.
Megami Tensei, and Fire Emblem. Like,
Yeah, I think Nintendo's gonna give you what you I because when we do our predictions, I can tell you've been yearning for your big JRPG and it's been deficient for you so far, I
mm,
feel, in 2026. And maybe
yeah,
Nintendo is going to be able to satiate that because I feel like, remember, obviously we're not going to get not just JRPGs, but just a big RPG that I know that you leading to. No Clockwork this year. There's a lot that
really
I
good
know you
one,
like.
and that's it. You know,
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's what you may have to do. And for me, yeah, turn based. I've been like, if you notice, it's Echo Generation, it's Demio, it's all these little joys, and I'm like, yo, this is this. So I'm eating, but
Mhm.
what you love the most, you haven't been satiated. You've been deficient of your love lately.
And I thought about it a little bit more. I was like, I think this is the right year to go for it because next year I'm going to be fattened up.
Oh,
I mean, what we got the rumor of Fallout 3 remaster, but
yep.
also what we know, Fable, Clockwork,
Clockwork. Oh,
Expanse, like that's five. That's just
bro,
five. You know,
that we know of.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna get crazier. So I
I
mean,
think,
that's not even including games I
yeah,
already know. I'm really interested in like a State of
facts.
Decay 3, which looks amazing.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, why don't I go after these JRPGs that I'm missing and feeling something for
Hmm.
right now? Because I feel like next year it's going to be really difficult for me to want to,
Bro.
because I'll be very much happy with what I get all next year, at least interested on a high level.
Hell yeah. And for me, I'm like that I'm so eating at was a bit reactive with the Star Wars turn
Oh, I
base.
forgot. Yeah. Oh,
Bro,
man, I forgot
I'm
about that. Yeah.
eating. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, turn base heaven.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
That is going to be a fucking meal. I can't wait for that game, dude.
Hell yeah.
All right, Cog, are you ready for the news? Have we enjoyed ourselves enough here?
I said we had enough fun as it is.
Okay. 1 hour of fun, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into our only topic in the news today. And that is what's going on in the world of Xbox. So I've got to write up here just trying to take all of these different news bites and gel them into one segment, because originally when I was writing my script for a little inside baseball here, originally these are all broken up into like 3-4 different stories. We'll talk about them one by one, but they're all tangentially or deliberately connected. And it's just like, let me just put it all in one and then we'll kick it to Cog, see where he wants to go with it. I'll pick your write-ups in as we get in on it. But here we go. Xbox is planning to, at least as we know so far, shut down Compulsion Games, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory. These three are being given an option to buy themselves out and take a chance as an independent developer, but rumors outside of Insider Gaming have also suggested that Arcane Leon's fate hangs in the balance. Furthermore, industry insider Nate the Hate has corroborated the reports that a massive amount of layoffs across all first-party studios are inbound on top of impending studio closures And then I didn't have this in my script because I didn't see the video at the time. It came out today. But Jason Schreier also said in his video,
What do you say?
It's going to be like a total bloodbath. Like he did not really, at the end of his video, he did not really mince words on just how bad it is. To me, the takeaway was, and mind you, it's not factual. It's just me inferring how he's putting it. It sounds so much worse than even what I've got here on paper. Like it's like we're hearing words like, and these are the 3 studios or 4 studios we know so far. That might be.
Oh no, so, not the so far.
Yeah. So that seems to be the way people are talking about it beyond Jason. I'm saying in our industry in general that there's more. So we'll see. However, continuing on here, as a result, we've seen the domino begin to fall. Craig Duncan, the latest boss of Xbox Game Studios, who only took the position 20 months ago, is out alongside Chief of Staff Luis O'Connor. Additionally, Treyarch studio head Mark Gordon is out after 22 years. All of this occurs while a new report by The Information suggests that Xbox CEO Asha Sharma is aiming to pour Xbox's resources into franchises like Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and Halo. This tidbit was actually overshadowed by the fact that the same report also said Xbox is considering spinning out of Microsoft entirely, similar to GitHub or LinkedIn, although no action has been taken thus far. The picture becomes even clearer thanks to a recent write-up by Windows Central's own Jez Corden. It's there that he details a variety of high-profile misses like Avowed, Keeper, Kiln, South of Midnight, Hellblade 2, Forza Motorsport, and The Outer Worlds 2 across both sales and Game Pass engagement. Locked on top of this are projects like State of Decay 3, Project Blackbird, Everwild, Perfect Dark, and Fable, of all which had tons of resources spent on them, either getting them going or going nowhere. These losses were more crippling when you read that the 30% accountability margin was not the highest metric of the demanded success by Xbox, but rather a range, and that the high end of said range actually reaches into the 40 percentile. A service like Game Pass did help even the score for Xbox, as it was said that it did subsidize losses, but the pressure for that became too high when games like Call of Duty were tossed in and lost sales upwards of hundreds of millions of dollars, which hurt the brand even further. Top all of that off with a dismal outlook on Xbox hardware, and you begin to truly understand why Xbox's problems have all collapsed upon themselves today. I mean, that's just skimming the top. There's just a lot to get into, but I felt our conversation will lead us there. Where do you want to go with this, dude? There's at least like 10 things, you know? It's crazy.
It's crazy, man. I mean, I'm literally torn with this because let's be clear. When the new regime started, I am honestly shocked that they said they were going into exclusives. I'll be honest. When they first started talking about this, I'm like, really? Like,
yeah.
In my mind, we're going to pack it up. It's a wrap. She's here to, clean things up and maybe potentially, get rid of Xbox as we know it. It would fundamentally change because the experiments has failed.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were doubling down and she was saying how like we're returning to Xbox and she had all the small W's, in my mind, like me and you've already talked, Maddie, we're like, this sounds great. And I love all the small W's and I love it was cool. But my thing is, if you're going to approach this strategy, there's a price to be paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know what the price is. See, for me, I don't judge you when things is lit. I judge you when you've got to make the tough decisions. And that's leadership to me. So I'm like, I want to see how you navigate this because I know this is what the past regime truly was judged on. Now we're going to see. And what we started to see was her keep alluding how bad things were. Remember when the financials came out, this is unacceptable. Like before, we would get quiet on hardware down 33%. You know what I'm saying? She's out in front like, this is unacceptable. And to me, we both expressed this, that it's literally every time she's gone public, Asha, in terms of talking about how bad things are, in my opinion, in corporate, it's literally, this is an indictment on the past generation, on the hand I've been dealt. I need you to know how horrible things are. And he always alluded to tough decision. At that point, I'm like, I knew it. I was like, oh, it's coming. Everyone's popping bottles and they talk Xbox and all lit. I was like, I know what's about to happen. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to sit there. I said, I like it. It's cool. But this is where I judge you. Mm-hmm. And to her credit, she has been consistent.
Yeah.
Now we're at Terminator 2 Judgment Day. We are here. And now to July 30th, that's when Skynet goes live, and we're going to see what it is. I love this part, low key. Not that I love people losing their jobs.
Sure.
I like when I get to know who you are, and I get to know how you operate. What do you value? What is the North Star? The new North Star, you guys said repeatedly, is exclusive games and a return to the console. If you're going to do that, we already said, right? How does Game Pass? How does studios who existed with the old North Star? The old North Star was, hey, we want a diverse portfolio of games to feed this amazing service. And as a result of this amazing service, you can make all these bespoke individual games, and it's okay because we have Minecraft, we have Call of Duty, we have all these big games to allow creativity. Now we have to shave this down. So this is where I'm of the mindset. I do understand, right? I do it. Like, I get it. Like, there's people here on this list that if I'm being objective, me and you've always said, man, compulsion. Don't know, man. It took a long time. I like South of Midnight, but was it a commercial success? Did it have flaws? Yes, it had flaws. It could be more. It's a great foundational title. Some of the best music in the game came out in the worst with Expedition 33, but even so, it just wasn't enough from a commercial standpoint to stay to exist. Double Fine. Love Psychonauts. Love it. But Kiln, Keeper, I did not like, right?
Yeah.
All these small titles. In this climate, is it enough with this new regime to survive? And here comes the elephant in the room. Now, this, I have to admit, Matty, the Ninja Theory situation is the first rake I have seen from this current regime.
Shall I get into the write-ins?
Let's get to it.
We got two on this one. Funkrat writes, hey, Dukes, The Verge is reporting that Xbox is shuttering Ninja Theory. I'm bewildered as to why Xbox allowed Ninja Theory to announce Senua, and at the extremely recent showcase, if leadership was even remotely aware that studio closure was a possibility. It seems like such an avoidable rake that I'm gobsmacked. If true, Senua went less than a month between reveal and seemingly cancellation. This errant behavior has me concerned at what Xbox's future might be now, more so than at any point this last year. What are your thoughts on this particular closure? While Susan B. Anthony Bourdain writes, Dukes, do you think anyone at Ninja Theory knew their studio was getting axed before the Senua reveal? If the studio goes independent, I think they could have revealed the game later on with the fresh, we're free energy, but now it'll be saddled with the game Xbox didn't want vibes. Either Ninja Theory made a critical mistake agreeing to reveal knowing their fate, or Microsoft fucked them over big time. Maybe they felt they needed to reveal it and get the wish list to impress a suitor, but I think the game is DOA now. What do you think? Thank you both, Susan and Funkrat, for your write-ins. We appreciate you both. Cog, take it away. Based on what I read after these reports had come out, it seems like the plan was Xbox and Ninja Theory both knew about the closure, and they revealed the game to hopefully get a suitor. That was the report. So Cog, what do you think now? Go ahead.
So just to clarify, because you got some additional context that I didn't realize. So the reports are saying that Ninja Theory as well knew. I just want to be clear. I didn't know about that.
I'll get the.
No, if you read it, you read it.
According to GameFile, Microsoft allegedly planned to close or spin off Ninja Theory when it was revealing Senua, and it did so thinking that the promise of a newly announced game would help draw investor interest in the studio. GameFile's Stephen Totilo suggests Ninja Theory management may not have been aware of Microsoft's plan. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to clarify.
I think I read that. Thank you for asking.
It's all good because that's what I was in the impression from what my little mini digging around, and this is horrible. There's no excuse.
That's way worse. They agreed to it. This one thing that's way worse.
Because it's horrible on two levels. One, we've already got quotes from this current administration saying, I believe it was Matt Booty, saying the value of keeping teams like a Ninja Theory, a Compulsion, and whatever, around in the climate, right? So now I'm going to have to assume that you knew coming into this showcase at this point that these things don't happen in a vacuum. for the most part, you've already kind of got an idea of what you're going to do, who you're going to let go. So if you know you're going to let them go, right? Then you put them on the showcase. Because here's the thing. Remember me, you, and Rand, we did the Find and Do prediction series. And we all said to ourselves, remember, initially, we don't expect to see Ninja Theory here at all, right? We were like, nope, they're done. And we're like, we just hope, everything's okay because we are concerned. We did come in with that mentality. But then when you show them at the showcase, you give the illusion of hope. You now tell people like, yo, you're sending a message. They've got a new game coming. And also it is alive because the reality is, you're going to shut this studio down. And I've never heard, this is the first for me, where you're going to shut a studio down, but you're going to, as Maddie would say, wheel them out in front of the Xbox fan base to say, hey guys, aren't you excited? You're lying. You're like, you're going to get this game. Don't you love Senua? Don't you love, she's back. Don't you want the combat? Right? So I don't understand this mentality of doing that because to me, again, I don't own $1 trillion company. You do that behind the scenes. If you're trying to get them, show that to the suitors in your presentation package for this is what they've got working on. But the minute you put it on that stage, you have now set the expectation that the Xbox fan base is going to get that. You set the expectation that Ninja Theory gets to live another day. This is a this like that. This I don't understand at all. Yeah. Who thought that was a go? So.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's completely abusing the point of a showcase.
Exactly.
Like that's for fans. Whether we get those games or not, sometimes development happens, things get canceled. But to use it as an investor-related, like, hey, look at this. I mean, I get the intent. I'll be understanding
the intent.
Intent. Like companies want sure bets, wish lists to conversion rates help with that a little bit. Track records help a little bit with that. But this is like completely abusing the point of a showcase and what it communicates to your fans, especially when you see it's coming next year. And like you said, the thing that I get my back up on is it felt like it was for the Xbox fan who was like me saying like, man, they could have made more of a game. And it felt like we listened to you and look how quick we're turning this around. Like 3 years later, we're back. We'll see you with our next game.
Yes.
It felt like for that fan as well, which again, I don't know who to blame for that. Like that's just more like they were just making what seemed to be the right game for the right audience.
Right.
And I have more to say, but please continue.
No, in hindsight, it's 2020 because now that I look back at it, you know what's funny? You know what thing kind of, I'll say rub me wrong, but raise my eyebrow. After the announcement, if you remember, Ninja Theory made a separate Senua Twitter account. I thought that was weird. Because in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute. You've got the Ninja Theory account. You got the Hellblade account. Why would you not continue to use that account to promote the new game? It was like, why make a brand new account? And they were like, we've got 5,000. Thanks, everybody. I'm like, whoa, that's weird.
Oh, because Xbox probably isn't going to give them the Hellblade IP either.
And that's where it gets nasty.
Yeah.
Now that I look, again, hindsight is 2020. At the time, it was just, again, not that I say, hey, that's egregious, but I was just like, that's interesting. Why did they make a new account? And they're so happy to get any type of following to this new Twitter account. So man, look, here's the thing. The Ninja Theory thing, if we didn't have it at the showcase, and you tell us in an objective world, right? Coming in and coming after. If you say the next 100 days, and you say, hey, our health of our business is 3%, we are awful. This is how bad our business is, right? And you tell us this in a world where Senua is not at the showcase. I think, Maddie, if we look at the list and we say the current list, because as Jason Schreier says, we don't know what else is coming. Let's just talk about what we know of. And we say Double Fine, Compulsion, Ninja Theory. I think objectively, as much as it would have sucked, we go, yeah, we kind of get it. We kind of get it, right? We know what Hellblade, bro, they repackaged not only Hellblade 2 to be on PS5, but they also made a combo with Part 1. They tried their best to sell this game. it didn't go anywhere. And then to your credit, you've always lamented it took them this long to make a 4 or 5 hour experience, right? We see all the I would say flaws, but how those 3 studios don't work and how they just were not commercially successful. We get it. But when they put it on their stage, that's why they're going to get the smoke. That's why the rake is as bad as it is. And, this is just the beginning. But that's just where I wanted to start with it. It's real. I just feel awful for that studio because, one, they deserve to live another day, right? 2, here's the other surprise. We were told, at least I was told, they have a state-of-the-art motion capture studio.
Sure.
I was told the Xbox Game Studio family, right? They pool resources. Even if you're not making a game, remember we heard with Obsidian and Undead Labs, they're using the shared world situation that Grounded uses in State of Decay 3, that Coalition helps everybody with Unreal Engine. We heard that there's this nice synergy. And from the Ninja Theory standpoint, I heard their value was also intrinsically tied to these great mocap studios. So that also surprised me. Like, damn, that ain't even saved them either. You know what I mean? So we'll get into the UK aspect because I'm very curious about Duncan's, obviously being gone as person who was kind of running Xbox Game Studios. And what I would just say to that, I'm curious about his tie because obviously Ninja Theory is a UK based studio. How did that affect him, as well as is this a case of when the new regime comes in, we're bringing in our people to run Xbox Game Studio family. You know what I mean? Because technically, remember, Craig Duncan reported to Booty, and I'm assuming Booty kind of elevated. So thus, Duncan was supposed to be doing the job of managing the studio. See, I'm very curious on the replacement also for that, but I'm rambling a lot. What else on this?
It obviously wasn't planned because when Alan Hartman left, there was Craig Duncan. Like he filled that role. Like that was the plan. Craig Duncan left, and they're like, there's no one to fill that role right now. My guess is something's happening to Rare. Not to just shoot from the hip, but I feel like that's kind of like Louise O'Connor, former Rare. She was there since '99. Was an animator. He was the studio head during their Connect era and their Sea of Thieves era. So I think something's happened to them for sure. Like I think they're probably going to get significantly slashed. I think this is going to be a lot of the companies that survive are having the fat significantly trimmed. Like I think they're going to look at ZeniMax Online, which by the way, what a mistake of a cancellation. Now you see what's happening with Destiny. Like we got to circle back to Project Blackbird. I think that's going to haunt Xbox for a while. We can't guarantee success, but I feel like there is no one's filling the void for Destiny. Maybe I think Warframe and like what they're like, I think that style is doing something. I know it's not Destiny for a lot of people, but I think that kind of free to play sort of game, like I think that's doing really well. But a Destiny style experience, a kind of MMO style experience like that, I really think it was a tremendous mistake in the first place. But now, hindsight 2020, just seeing what's happening there, awful choice. They would have had the answer that people were looking for really soon. And especially with Sony apparently not going for Destiny 3.
And then obviously, did you hear about the 400 was supposed to get from Bungie? Yeah, the report just came out. Tom Henderson just put out for, I believe, over 400 about to be laid off.
Okay.
At Destiny, nice. At Bungie.
Yeah. It's exactly what I was just going to say for companies like ZeniMax is I think they'll be fine, ZeniMax Online Studios, but I think the fat's going to be trimmed tremendously. It's like, we don't need all this overhead, all this staff for you to maintain ESO. You do that, you make us money off of ESO. If you do something else, it's going to be Elder Scrolls, and we'll scale you up then. I think that's what may happen to Bethesda Game Studios a little bit. Like I think Rare is another case. Like maybe Rare stays open, but it's like your days of making anything not Sea of Thieves are finito. It's done.
But here's a quick question. Like, how do you feel about, again, I don't have the books. I'm just curious about, I know they announced the creation kind of content, right? They're changing their model a little bit. Like, how do you feel about Sea of Thieves is like profitability and number? Because I feel like there's been a number decline as far as, trust me, it made money. It's million. I don't want to disrespect. Sea of Thieves did, I'm just talking about current Sea of Thieves? Like, I'm just curious. Do you think it's still long for this world, or how do you feel about that in general? Just
Hard to say. I feel like the bump is worn off. I mean, the game did as great as I think you could ask it to do. What was this, 2017 or 18? It's still alive and kicking like almost a decade later, getting big updates and people are coming back. I just don't know if it's drawing a massive amount of new players. I can't say for sure. But I feel like that PS5 bump really helped them. But I think people have kind of moved on for maybe not a large part, but I can't say for sure. But you don't see it in the zeitgeist as often anymore. And they've slowed down their more, I'd say, crazier collaborations for what feels a little bit more safer and tame. And so, yeah, I mean, I hope Rare is long for this world, but it would be another item on the list of teams that I think could have helped themselves out of trouble a lot easier. That's one of my major takeaways here is like a lot of the back and forth on these studio shutdowns. We'll talk about what we'll call the big three for now.
Yeah.
In Compulsion, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory.
Yeah.
They were not brought, to be fair to them, they were not brought in to be major sellers. They were brought in as part of a plan for Game Pass. Like Cog said, you guys are going to feed the service with more regular, smaller releases. And we have games like Minecraft. We're buying Fallout. We're buying Elder Scrolls. Like we have all this stuff, Call of Duty now. So you guys keep making your small things. We'll get like a game a quarter. And then we have the big heavy hitters that'll subsidize any losses. We'll have recurrent revenue from Game Pass. It's all going to be groovy. I see the vision. I love the vision. What happened was a couple of things. One, IP mismanagement. A lot of the IP that I just mentioned, Xbox just didn't touch. I'll leave it here. But just seeing that it took Asha Sharma coming in to be like, Elder Scrolls and Fallout, huh? Oh, we got none of that new stuff. It's fucking unbelievable, dude. It's easily to me the most egregious thing that the past leadership group did. I'm just like, you bought them and did nothing with them to maybe even help prevent this stuff. Because what we read in Jez's article is a lot of these higher profile successes had their profits eaten away from to subsidize other losses. So there were things, easy wins that seemed to be needed. And now they're nowhere to be found and nowhere close. So that was a tremendous mistake. So IP management is one. Two, what the past regime had told these studios and the plan has now changed. Games don't turn around on a dime. So when they're in the middle of, like Keeper Kill and South of Mid, like when you're starting to see all these games and then like new leader comes in and there's now the initiative's changing. How quickly can you pivot? And maybe some of these teams, I think Ninja Theory pivoted quite quickly. I feel like they deserve a chance.
I agree.
3, as Cog already said, and I'll just add on to it, these teams did not help themselves out. And that is the tough part of the conversation that I imagine anyone from those teams listening would probably hate what I have to say, but it's just, unfortunately, at least from a fan perspective, what it appears to be. When you are purchased by Xbox in 2018 and it takes you 7 years to produce South of Midnight, which I think is a fine game. I love the art style and I love the music, but the gameplay is extremely repetitive. It doesn't feel that great, frankly. And to me, the biggest sign of it being a messy development cycle was that not only the timeline, the story's incomplete. Cliffhangs you in a bad way, too.
I didn't like that either.
There's no reason why after Bleeding Edge, Hellblade 2 should be this glorified tech demo that you spent 4 years on. That's bad. And with Double Fine, Psychonauts 2 is a masterpiece. But then we wait 4 years. You and I had numerous developer direct predictions, showcase predictions. Where are they going to show up? What are they showing out with? They go 4 years with nothing. And the next game they show up with is Keeper. And then after that is Kiln. I respect the creativity and the personal expression of these studios. We're a better industry with them in it. But I also can't act like they really walked the line here on balancing what keeps them valuable and how best to use their creativity versus obviously that personal expression, right? Mm-hmm. Of like, Double Fine's going to do weird games from Brutal Legend to Psychonauts to Kiln. Like we know Keeper, they do weird games. They're not meant for the mainstream. But there's a reason their name is known, and that is because they did a good mixture of weird and marketability. Mm-hmm. And that is something that we all thought Hellblade was going to become, for example, with Ninja Theory. Remember, it's a crazy amount of foolishness in my vocabulary talking about Ninja Theory going into Hellblade 2, thinking it would be this more God of War-like experience, more expansive. exploration driven, and it ends up again being more of a tech demo. That is just not sustainable. That is bad management. That's a bad process from development timelines. To like, again, if you're a Double Fine and you're a US based studio where it's super expensive to live, and this is like, we're talking like pre-COVID, I'm like, it's expensive to live here. It's expensive to hire people here. And you're making games that are considered sunk costs. What do you think's going to happen? I don't think they're arguing with it or anything like that, but this is something that I know for a fact I have beat the drum on endlessly. Is I'm like, how does Compulsion stay in business? Not like please shut them down. How do they stay in business? But like, dude, you spent 7 years on something that flopped across, and you got the port even, and it flopped there.
Yeah.
Like, and I say this as someone who really liked Contrast, thought We Happy Few was fine, had a lot of potential. And I get why Phil went out and got these teams, because I'm sure he saw what we all saw. Compulsion was a team that I thought, okay, with a little more budget, a little more time, their ability to execute, if it's anything like We Happy Few, this is a great team to invest in, right? That's a small team that when they were independent and then working with Gearbox, that was their biggest game. Shouldn't that be the case with Xbox? You have a huge platform, marketability, reach, and you didn't even come close to what We Happy Few did. We Happy Few is like one of the more iconic E3 demos where we saw like you are off your joy, and everyone was like, what is this?
Yeah, it's wild.
We have to try this out. And even despite it not being anything close to BioShock, as in not just quality, but it being like a procedurally generated open world with like repetitive buildings and stuff, like that richness and personality and art style captivated so many people that they were able to do support DLC for it. So again, I have to, while what Xbox did with Senua in particular, talk about in a moment, is fucking disgraceful. I don't think these teams help themselves out as much. There's less anger in my heart. Whereas I look at companies like ZeniMax where I was really pissed because I'm like, dude, they were making the thing for you and everyone liked it. And there has not been a report since or leak gameplay or nothing negative was said about this. It seemed like a pretty locked in, at least out the launch hit. Where it goes from there is anybody's guess, but ZeniMax Online Studios is one of the best run studios in the business when it came to efficiency, output, meeting their deadlines. Like, at least as a player, you could feel that with things like ESO. Why not take a chance on them, right? So I'll get into that, but you were going to say something else.
Yeah, no, I think you made a fantastic point. And that's the sobering reality of the state of the industry right now. You know, we have so much game and market saturation that now that even if you make a good game, right, and it's cool, you know, the time that you release and when it comes out, you still might not even get, you know, the actual proper look and the commercial success that you thrive for. And to your point, with those three that we talked about, the Compulsions, the Ninja Theory, you know what I'm saying, and the Double Fine, we have to be brutally honest in the standpoint of these teams realistically were on their last legs prior to acquisition. I interviewed the head of Compulsion. That studio literally had 9 lives. They like a cat. Like, they were able to still exist even when during the We Happy Few situation. They've changed. I've been with them when they had a whole different community manager. Like, they've had so much turnover and then being able to still exist. So there's a part of me that always says, hey, I'm always going to respect living to fight another day. Sure. But I'm going to be honest that you were almost out of here multiple times until Xbox swooped in, right? Then we have the Double Fine situation, these cool, weird, quirky kind of games, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. I remember with Ninja Theory, you know, seeing it on PlayStation, Hellblade, like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, this is really cool. But again, are we going to sit there and say that these games were commercially thriving and they came into the acquisition on a solid footing? The majority of these studios came through on bad, situations and then got saved. But to your point, I believe when we interviewed Ninja Theory when they first signed, they kind of likened it to like being a local brewery to then being like acquired by this big distillery, and then you got Budweiser or whatever. So to your point, you would think we would get bigger, better resources. You'd really push it to the limit. Because I even admitted I was a little disappointed when you remember when the studios got acquired, the class of 2018, and we were like, yo, they got a budget now. We thought we were gonna get a little bit more bombasticness from a few of them, and we kind of got the same at a same scale kind of thing. But I say all this to say this. Everything you said is accurate. The reality I am afraid of, though, even though this is technically the right corporate call in the new regime that they're looking at, because remember, Asha has no emotional sentimentality, no gaming sensibilities to care about, oh, you're Tim Schafer, you do Day of the Devs. No, your number on the spreadsheet and why is the games taking this long, or why are these profitable, right? That's what all three of these are. Soon that we will know more, on her list, they're looking at it. My only fear, because we do agree, past regime, why was Halo mismanaged? Right? Because we could tell right now, based on what Asha and Matt Ball said, there's a focus on the core franchise. So we're going to say Halo makes the list. Elder Scrolls make the list, which I know Maddie's smiling about. Fallout makes the list, which I know Maddie's smiling about. Yeah. Right? We understand that. Call of Duty, we understand. These have to be out and what's going on with the pipeline. But my fear is now that we do this, do we become the assembly line versus true creativity and game diversity? Because when you kill off studios like this, we now get into a thing that, let's be honest, and me and you have both been attacked by PlayStation Nation, of we don't like samey hashtag just one third person, just all we get. That's the definitive. Like we just finished talking. Look about our games that we just played. You're playing JRPG, I'm playing turn-based. Like, we like all these different genres in addition to that. So my fear is just that we just don't become the factory of 5 to 6 franchises, and then it gets boring and there's no room for any of these games like way in the past regime. That's my main fear. And I got to see how they navigate that, because that's a big concern of mine.
So much you said there is very true. I completely agree. That is, to me, the loss in this, whether they end up going independent, which is what I'm hoping for, or they end up shutting down, is that it does mean, it is like I talked about in my video. I said it is a bit careful what you wish for. I've been begging for more Fallout. I'm not necessarily like disappointed, like, oh, I'm getting more Fallout now. Like, no, I'm plenty thrilled that like they're going to invest resources in it, but also there's dreamy ways of how they're going to invest in Fallout, which is like, oh, the spin-offs are going to happen. Like, here comes Obsidian, which I hope they'll be okay, but they had 3 different games flop since 2022. Their only success is Grounded. What do they look like, after all of this? But again, that's where my head goes. She what you just said, just to add on, is that like, she's got no love for anybody here. This is the benefit and the negative of bringing in someone who has no attachment to video games. You get a much more cutthroat, cold take on the business. That means some deficiencies have to be excised, but there is also no attachment to like that means something to the culture. There's none of that. It sounds like, based on her interview, she just picked up a controller for the first time like this year, really.
Yeah, she's been brutally honest about it.
Yeah, which I respect completely.
It's
just to illustrate to the audience, like, that is, because there was a lot of like, I think it's great. Like, she's going to do what has to be done. And I'm definitely not arguing against it. I think some of this is a little bit necessary at this point. And I think maybe not necessary is the right word. Unavoidable.
Yes.
I don't think we can dodge it anymore. I think someone's got to rip the Band-Aid off, and I think she's going to do it. But how bad it's going to be and what concessions you can make is going to be a different story. Because what's going to happen here seems to be what would have happened, or what did happen, with Bethesda, which is like, okay, there go all of your luminaries, all the people who made these companies worth buying. There they go. And now you're left with their IP and no one who knows how to manage them. To Fallout's case, like I was saying earlier, like, yeah, this is something it's great to hear they're investing in Fallout, but it might just be like, we're giving more money to Bethesda Game Studios. They're going to open up Vault Tech Studios, and they're going to make all the Fallout games. And there's going to be a consistent pipeline on top of remasters and 76 management of just new Fallout games from Bethesda Game Studios. And I gotta be honest, with Bethesda Game Studios' reputation right now, I don't think that excites a lot of people. I think they want, just like with Halo, more different hands, not from the original creators, on this IP. And Asha indicated she's focusing internally more, and specifically with tech. But I have to imagine this has to go down to getting away from contractors and stuff. And if you can scale up a team or just a division within Bethesda Game Studios, you don't even have to make a whole new studio out of it. We know how that went last time. I feel like they would be more inclined to do that. or again, finally utilizing your resources internally. But if she's not familiar with games or the talent that makes these games, I would hope someone would have tapped her on the shoulder and been like, hey, Obsidian just made this very New Vegas-like game, from systems to mechanics. They happen to have the director from the most popular Fallout game there, and Josh Sawyer. Tim Kaine, who is one of the fathers of Fallout, still works there. Leonard Boyarsky, another father of Fallout, he still works there. Fergus Urquhart, yep, he was there from the beginning, works there. We have talent that was brought on from New Vegas into this project. Like, I hope someone would say that to her and be like, hey, you want more Fallout? Like, they have the systems and the talent. Like, it's just kind of we just need to go tell them to do it. I do think those days with things like Fallout and Elder Scrolls going on to get more stuff, I think the days of what do you want to do are over. And again, as a cost, you're going to get more Fallout, but Fallout could be factory made now, and that's not great. But it's going to be, again, very interesting to see how it goes. And as I alluded to in my videos, I really am curious to see how Todd reacts to being told what to do.
Now we got to have a conversation. These are the real conversations.
Let's get back to Pete Hines saying the reason that they started to experiment with things like Starfield, whether the experiment was good or not, is not what I'm talking about, but that they did it in the first place is they said they are not a vending machine and they can't just keep going Fallout button, Elder Scrolls button, Fallout button. This has been a foundational belief in this team for like well over a decade now. So to now have someone that, by the way, Todd has no relationship with, come in and be like, you're going to do this. I think anyone would get their back up, right? At the same time, like, look, Phil had the relationship where I'm like, you can massage this a lot easier than anyone else, where you can make this happen because that's your man. You're friends with Todd. But now Todd's being like, who is telling me to do this?
That part.
And I don't think he's like, I'm out. Although anything's possible. It feels like anything's on the table now. But it feels a lot like him going from I have a lot left in the tank to I'm finishing Elder Scrolls 6 and I'm out of here. If that. I mean, look, you know, again, I want to wrap this back to the original point I was getting to, and then I'll kick it to you.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
With Senua and announcing it on the showcase stage. And then it's turning out this studio is getting shut down. And now knowing the studio making it was not aware. Who wants to be part of what you are doing when you can't even safely reveal the thing that you have been working years on to the public, which is supposed to be your most exciting moment, outside of launch. This is the moment you bring your baby out to the world, whether it's just another Hellblade game or whatever you want to call it. That is a moment that you spend years working to. And if you got an overhead that's quietly being like, that's cute, we're shutting them down. Let them put that out there. Well, let's see. And then you use that as a way to massage them. Like, hey, look, man, look at these. Look, we may be shutting you down. It's like, bro, you did that. Like, we may be shutting you down, but look at these wish lists. Someone's going to want you, just not us. You know, that sends a absolutely despicable message through your entire network of studios out of anything you could have avoided fucking up here. This really would have been worth like, hold on to them. So all that to say is that this destabilization of Xbox, even if a studio doesn't get shut down or someone doesn't leave, like this does not leave you in a better game making state. This may leave you as a better business. And there is complete merit to that. Mm-hmm. And as you've heard earlier, I don't argue with that. Mm-hmm. But for all it does well for the business, their game making culture is going to fucking blow, especially when they lose more luminaries. Because I think people like Todd might stay, but I think a lot of people are going to be out.
Yeah. And we've always talked about, you know, generational knowledge. You use the term about the luminaries, right? And, you know, let's break it down from the Double Fine. Like, listen, I know hardcore gamers are like, bro, y'all popping off of this thing. Them games is whack. Nobody cared about them games. I'm not losing no sleep over no Double Fine. Fine, you may not. But here's the thing. The generational knowledge of Tim Schafer. And here's the other thing. You thought people were going to crash out because of Tango? Wait till the development community get a hold of Tim Schafer leaving the industry, or let's just say not giving an exit plan, or let's just say not giving a chance to retain his IP, right? And again, this is my first GDC this year. Shout out to Subeg, shout out to Rook, who went out there. We interviewed Tim Schafer. Like, I was so ignorant, bro. I had no idea that Day of the Devs was literally his creation, ran and supports the entire independent community in the Bay Area. I thought this was a GDC event. This is his event. I'm like, yo, I learned so much. So again, generational knowledge, foundational knowledge, and him being removed, right? So let's say that, because again, we're talking about a regime that doesn't have any attachments. I understand the business. I understand those games didn't pop. I get it. But one would hope he gets to land on his feet, or at least spun off. That's the hope here. Because that's what, and now let's get to the main event, to your point. I am terrified with Bethesda on some level. Because on one hand, we've been bemoaning Todd Fair. Where's the Vault Studios at, right? How is it, I get hindsight of 2020, you didn't know that the Fallout TV show would be the greatest thing since sliced bread in the zeitgeist moment. I'll give you that. Sure. But the minute now you know, we're supposed to have the announcement. From this point on, invest Vault Tech Studios, bro. You've got another studio in Obsidian who is clamoring. Bro, if they pick up the phone, we'd love to. Bro, so there's clearly something going on. We've been talking about...
obviously a problem.
It's obviously a problem. They're not outright being disrespectful to each other, but it's clear Todd, the way he's moving, he is doing things on his own time. So the bad part, the one part of it, I say like, yo, bro, maybe you do need someone to push Todd to say, bro, what's going on? Let's get these going on. We should, like, at minimum, the Fallout remaster should have been ready to go. That's minimum.
My point. Yeah. Just to interject real quickly, like, that's the thing, is that TV show or not, those remasters of those games, those classics, like proven classics, you know, that's just, it's money on the table, dude. Like, it's just, you know,
like the new Vegas and the Fallout 3 should have been remastered, should have been ready to go, or at least announce that you're working on it and it's coming, and you show a clip. Like, so I get it. Like, I get the new regime, like, yo, what's going on here? Now, here's the flip side. The flip side is, like you said, we know if it wasn't for Phil, that Bethesda deal isn't, the ZeniMax acquisition is not happening.
No, yeah,
because of, remember the owner who passed away. Yeah. Then you got the Todd and Phil Deep connection with the history with Xbox and them on the platform since the Morrowind days. And we know, based on the reporting, when Todd was at his lowest with 76, it just works. And you remember Todd was
on the phone with Phil,
bro. That's when he had the scarlet letter on his jacket. Everybody's like, "Oh, bro, yo, what happened to you, fam? We got to take you off the Mount Rushmore with that." Like, with people, it was bad. You know what I'm saying? He picked up the phone. Phil, like, I got you. Massage that. 76 does a comeback. Obviously, it took a long time, but obviously the show and stuff like that. Yeah. But we know he's intrinsically tied, and thus that relationship keeps things where it's at as a studio. Right. What happens in a world where Asha and her team and this regime say, all right, fam, what's going on? Why aren't these Fallout games coming out? Maybe you need to either, I'll say relinquish, but, you know, be a little more amenable to now getting this and working out. And you're talking about a creator who really wants to have control over his IP. How does that conversation play? And my fear is sometimes, like you said, and what I said, but we're alluding to, we're not, you know, we're just predicting, we don't know what's going to happen. But like sometimes in those scenarios, that could accelerate a retirement. That could accelerate. Remember, even we saw it with Tango. Mikami, remember? He was like, I'm out. So we think, you retired. Oh, no, you're not. You something went on, and you like, I'm making my own thing now, and here's such and such studio. This was later after the smoke cleared. Right? Sometimes that's how that plays out. I'm not wishing it to existence, but I one thing that the toughest part of this new regime, and I get it, you don't have any ties, you don't have any emotionality, and sometimes that is what is needed to make tough decisions. I get that. But there are some relationships that you will have to massage if you care about the business of making great games. There's some relationships you just can't just willy-nilly, because who's left? And are these people that are left capable of making great games? And I know we said the Thomas Muller quote. It sounds nice. All you got to do is get the Miyamotos and this one. Who's coming under these conditions? That's the other question. And that's something we got to pay attention to.
Oh, man. Yeah. One angle I want to talk about is Game Pass as well. Because I feel like that is the overshadowed part of this conversation here. We got 2 write-ins about it. I want to see how you feel. Mr. Scott, if you're nasty, writes, Dukes. I wonder how many layoffs have occurred because you all keep playing with the dark arts and inviting, I won't even say his name on the show. Says, of course I'm kidding. Fascinating reporting coming out of the one and only Mr. Corden on Xbox. Many strings to pull at, but I thought this was the most interesting. Xbox Game Pass is often blamed in part for the current state of Xbox, but according to Corden, Game Pass was overproducing enough to subsidize the misses of other studios. In fact, this little nugget of information is mentioned in the same part of the article that says some of the business was operating at a 40% accountability margin to offset misses in other parts, implying that Game Pass is actually one of the healthier parts of the business. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Is the conventional thinking about Game Pass completely wrong after the revelation? Do you think it's still a possibility to be cut, especially when it looks like a major drag on Xbox was an absolute poor choice of what games to put out? Dukes, I could go on forever, but I'll stop here. I played around with the dark arts and caused an Xbox apocalypse again kind of day. Meanwhile, Gabriel Baker writes, hey, Dukes, given that Xbox pulled Call of Duty from Game Pass after Black Ops 6's inclusion cost them an estimated $300 million in sales, what are the odds Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 launch in Game Pass? Fallout is bigger than ever after the success of the Amazon Prime show, and Skyrim has sold more copies than any single Call of Duty game. With a reported 3% profit margin, can Xbox afford to include these future blockbusters in a subscription service without another price hike? And we recently learned through Matthew Ball that Xbox had lost millions of subscribers on Game Pass after the price hike. Since then, it seems like it's returned to some form of growth with the new price cut, which is still considered a price hike, but it's much more palatable. What I want to know, Cog, is with all of this, they are going to be, whether these companies stay independent or get shut down, they are losing a lot of first party supply from the game for the Game Pass pipeline. Like, it's what the main reason these teams are brought in to do, which is, again, to feed Game Pass. They weren't meant here to be necessarily console sellers. I mean, technically they were part of the, I'm not saying that's how I interpreted it. I thought these companies could become larger and more exciting and more prominent. But I think the internal view was like, you're going to feed Game Pass. Like, you're going to feed our subscription service. You get to do whatever you want. We're going to subsidize losses with the recurrent revenue, yada, yada, yada. That content pipeline's going away. Now you have your heavy hitters. Are you putting a Forza Horizon 7 on Game Pass? Call of Duty's not on Game Pass until a year later. Are you doing this for Fallout? Elder Scrolls 6 is a big question mark. And the list goes on. Are these going to be Game Pass titles? Do you want to do day one anymore? Especially because my theory, and it's just a working theory, you could argue the dollars and cents of it. You could say, hey, well, if they go third party where all their Game Pass day one games are other people, that actually might be cheaper than funding the development and then putting it out there. However, I imagine these devs and publishers will know this and the price will get jacked up, just like Xbox started to jack the price down on how they were paying out to people when Game Pass became much more lucrative, much more respected, had a built-in player base. They were not handing out the sizable bags because they were like, look, we already got it. We don't need to pay anyone. We have people who want to be on our service. They desire to be, so we don't need to overpay for that. So this could result in, if day one Game Pass stays, a lot of overpaying for third-party day one titles, because at least the plan as we knew it was they wanted a first-party game per quarter. And that is why they invested in this volume of studios, so that every quarter of the year, they would have a beat of some kind, something that would draw growth for Game Pass, something that would draw growth for just general revenue. That was the goal. Now you're cutting a major part of that supply out. So what do you think happens to Game Pass? I think it's a little bit like the Games for Gold situation, where it's like there's a valve that if you're going to turn it off, it has to be very slow because it's still hundreds of millions of dollars you're fucking with. But what do you think they do? Do they value game sales more now? Do they go a PS Plus route where they're like, hey, this is good supplemental, we need these to sell? What do you think happens when they're getting rid of the more boutique things that used to feed Game Pass?
Yeah, this is the great question. And yeah, I love the write-ins. You know, as we got more information with the Game Pass situation, whether it be through Matthew Ball, Asha, you know, them twisting the knob and bringing the price down, and then obviously things shooting back up. But even prior to that, you know, they continue to kind of say that there's still a healthier part of the business that would subsidize other aspects, as opposed to us thinking like, oh my God, it's really doing so bad. And, you know, they are beating that drum, right?
Mm.
However, even though it is subsidized other parts of business, it is money there for them to grab. I get it. It's profitable. I get it. We have to admit, once they took Call of Duty out, that was Pandora's box, because that was the one game that they saw, the current regime, this doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
We're losing way too many individual sales of this game. This game is bigger than that service, and that game is cannibalizing what they're trying to do. So once you remove that, me and you have said it. We said it when it happened. That opens the door for any future classification of big game. And my new prediction now is kind of like, I think they are going to massage that knob when it comes. Pause. When it comes, I caught myself.
Oh, yeah, man, you're brutal.
Wild.
Whoa.
That was wild. That was wild. They're going to massage that, and they're going to say, Elder Scrolls 6, you're too big for the service. Fallout, you're too big for the service. I don't know if Halo ever gets to that point, but I could just say for those first three, I think it sets a precedent, and I get it. And ultimately, if it's about exclusives, which they are tripling down on. Did you see Matthew Ball's latest comment responding to Jez yesterday? Like, you know, and some people don't like it because people are like, yo, bro, don't say that. You answer to Satya, and we've seen this with the both sides.
That's a little bit of my sentiment. I was like, all right, you know.
I get it. And in fairness, I know we just did a Second Civil Plus, and I've been on the side of, you know, companies talking. I want to be fair. I do understand what you guys are talking about in terms of business plans being over communicated, right? I get that, right? You know me, I'm Lord Transparency. I like this type of stuff. But on one aspect, I do understand what you guys say, because they say, hey, you saying this now, how long are you for this world? Are you here? And then you still answer to someone, if that person changes their mind, you're going to have to, and then they're going to clip this. I get that. Fair. What I'm saying is, as of now, what she said, the plan is the plan until it's not, right? So as of now, this is what they're doing. If you're tripling down, you're doing exclusives. You're putting the focus on the hardware. You're looking at subsidizing the hardware. You're talking this talk, it's too expensive, it's cheaper. In that world where you now need to make more revenue and your margins are what they are, I can't see a world where Elder Scrolls is day one in Game Pass. I just can't see it. If they truly stick to this exclusive PC and Xbox, and it's, you know, we'll see if it, you know, if they make the decision to make that exclusive. That would be huge. I don't know if they're going that far yet. But all I'm just trying to say is, back to your question, I think day one Game Pass is in jeopardy. I think, and I'm okay with it. I'm a Game Pass guy.
Yeah.
I'm okay with them saying, you know what, I wouldn't mind? Just do the EA Play. EA is like, yo, we got this service. When we may give you a trial. You get that 10-hour, that 8-hour for the new Madden, and then you promptly to go to the store and then buy it, right?
Yeah, for a discount.
For a discount or whatever. Yeah. They could try that model. And then what ends up happening is a year out, then it comes to the service. Because let's be, after 1 year, zeitgeist is down. You done maximize everything you can from these games. Now you put it in the server, and then it feeds the service, and then you could kind of have the best of both worlds.
Sure.
That's how I see it. You know what I mean? But because it's clear, in my opinion, that he's not, at least from what I get from Matthew Ball, he's not, I thought they might kill Game Pass, to be honest. And it's still not off the table. But the vibe I'm getting is that it's profitable. They have to tweak it. And with the fact that he's mentioned a free tier with the ads, he clarified that part. That means Game Pass, I'm from him, because I wasn't getting it from Asha, I was worried. But from him, I'm getting, no, it's still part of their strategic plan. But it's going to, Game Pass as we know it will fundamentally change, because last point I'll say, remember, Game Pass was the North Star of the past generation. It's not the North Star of this. This is a supplemental thing that they are looking to adapt. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, their goal originally was 100 million and they haven't come close. So I think the goals had to change. They lost a lot of progress with the price change. They clearly want to stick with it, at least short term, because of the price reduction, to at least sustain something there that they felt was maybe bleeding out. I completely agree that I think day one's in jeopardy. I just don't know how, when we see, even if it's just a rumor, it's from Tom Henderson, but dude, $400 million on Gears E-Day. And I know that was built in mind to be a multi-platform game. Don't get me wrong. But you can't even come close if you're putting that out on just Xbox and PC, unless this is a hit. And I think with the combined unit sales and maybe microtransaction stuff, if this game really resonates, I think it can make really good money. But when you're spending that much on projects, like, it needs every chance in hell. It needs to be explosively performing. And I feel like now that's like an optimistic look, and that's not even accounting for Game Pass, which will no doubt take away from some of the sales like Gears could have had. That I think, by the way, for Xbox fans, I think they'll happily pay for Gears E-Day. Like, that is their baby. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I just don't see how it makes sense with their current business model moving forward, where it seems like they are valuing more and more. Again, you mentioned it perfectly. Like, just seeing how they reacted to Call of Duty. Like, there's a point where it's too much. There's a point where it's just way too much loss. And I think if you're focusing on only heavy hitters, that is a compounding issue now. That would become a problem for Fallout, for Elder Scrolls 6, for Forza Horizon. Maybe not Halo necessarily. And maybe they have them in different buckets. But again, then we get to this conversation of, these are all first party. What's day one? What isn't? And I think that gets a little messy. At the same time, I don't think any adjustments happen really soon, because, we got Persona 6 on the list, and that seems like the furthest one out. Yeah. It's a day one Game Pass title. I don't know how they pulled that one off, but it's day one Game Pass title. And as far as we know, September next year. So is day one Game Pass at least hanging around until then? It seems that way. Yeah. Unless they plan on changing that and just paying out all these developers and being like, okay, we've met all our obligations. We're no longer doing this. I don't know. It's hard to say, because like PS Plus doesn't do day one for their first party stuff. But they do it for some third party stuff, like Sea of Stars was day one. Yeah. So I think they're going to be looking into that playbook a little bit more. That's kind of my takeaway, is that this thing holds value, but I think what they're trying to do is extract maximum value, because it seems like whenever one thing won, another thing that was fucking up was taking it down. So it's like, man, what a great month for Game Pass. Like, this thing actually grew a lot. Like, we got a lot of subs from Starfield, but like Redfall and Forza Motorsport really like fucked us here. So now the meters just plateau. They completely equal out now. So I personally think that that's going to be a part of the process that they're going to gradually massage to undo some of its key issues. Let's talk a little bit about Halo. I think that's another key one on the table here. We got a write in from It's Shane Bailey. He says, "G'day, Dukes. With Xbox's focus shifting to safer bets on its biggest franchises, what do you think this means for Halo? Rebs Gaming reported last month that remakes of Halo 2 and 3 are in early development, and we know a multiplayer project is still in the pipeline. What do you think is coming for the next mainline Halo title? Considering the focus on safer bets, I think the next mainline Halo will follow in the E-Day footsteps and take us back to Master Chief's story, either before the events of the first game or between Combat Evolved and Halo 2, adapting the events of the novel Halo First Strike, which is a pretty epic novel, taking Chief, Cortana, and Johnson back to Reach. What about other remakes as well? Not going to lie, I'd love to see an ODST remake at some point. Rain-soaked New Mombasa in Unreal Engine 5 would be a dream. I'm keen to hear your thoughts. Have a rip in peace to the infinite follow-up we may never get kind of day. Shane." Thank you, Shane, for writing in. This is another one of the big three that, coming out of these shifts, they're looking at Halo as a major player. They're saying, you still got that spark in you, pal. Like, you can keep going. Just like we talked about with Fallout and Elder Scrolls, what do you think this leads to? Just more remakes? Is it safe? Do they experiment with other developers putting their hands on the franchise? Do we finally get that Halo flood-focused survival horror game that we've been looking for? What do we think the play is here?
This is the big question, and I'm really judging Asha's reign on what happens with Halo.
Oh yeah,
big time, because
she's probably, you got to imagine Halo Studios is going to get hit hard again. Have to imagine, bro.
Right? I mean, we would think, right? I don't know. I know this is going to sound really foul, but like, there's a lot of people from a gaming community standpoint that would not shed a tear for
Bro.
certain. Come on,
Top
right?
comment on my video is literally like, I hope it's Halo Studios. Like, people want them to pay so badly for what they've done in this franchise. Like, there would be bottles popped.
Not only the fans, but for people I speak to
who work there.
That work, that like, it's still not solved, Cog. I'm like, damn. And they're so brazen. Like, it's so bad that some of the people in the building are so brazen that things have to change. And that's a big indictment, because one of the worst indictments during the Phil era was that, bro, like, how is Halo this mismanaged? This is your flagship. I wouldn't even be into gaming and into IT if it wasn't for this game. This game is so grossly mismanaged, and we've beat that to death, right? But at the end of the day, I love the idea from the regime of reinvestment, right? Does that lead to spinoffs? Does that lead to seeing a really mature, dedicated IP rejuvenation? Like, I like that. But you've got to clear the rot. And here's the key. Now that Duncan is gone, right? Who are you bringing in for this day-to-day job, right? How do you address that? And that's what I want to see. So yeah, shout out to Rebs to answer the question. You know, this we know the initial plan was just the remakes. You know, if I'm going to guess, this is my guess, because Matthew Ball has been on record as saying whatever was in place contractually in terms of exclusives, they were honoring. So I'm going to look at them saying, hey, it was too late in the game to pull Halo Campaign Evolve off of PlayStation. I think they would have liked to if they had more time.
Yeah.
And we have now confirmed something that information that came across my line in terms of, you know, there was an intent to show Halo Campaign Evolved at the PlayStation State of Play and not at this Xbox Showcase, which would have been a disaster for them PR-wise from the Xbox community. I was told that the current administration said, hell no, you're not doing that, right? So they shut that down. But what I'm trying to say is we're getting all the indicators of this may be the last Halo for this current regime on PlayStation, and that Halo 2 and 3 remake, if I had to guess, may still will now go down the exclusive path, right? Which Xbox fans will like because they, you know, from a brand damage standpoint, they don't want to see it over there. Fine. My whole thing is this. After the 2 and the 3 and you do all your remaking and remixing, you got to make a mainline Halo game. And it's got to be good. It's got to restore the feeling. That's where I'm going to judge you. And is this current version of Halo Studios capable of that? Many of us don't have confidence. Let's just be brutally honest. We don't. So that's what I want to see. And as well as the way you feel about Fallout, where's the New Vegas? Where's the spinoffs? Where you investing? How are you investing? You know what I mean? What are you doing? These are the questions I want to know. And that's all I can hope for. I like the initial North Star of Halo being treated as a tentpole. I love that. It's the execution. How do you do that? That's what I judge you. And again, I told you, Asha, Mel, all this sound great. Year 2, year 3, when it's your Halo game, you've got to decide and you got to bring the people in and you've got to market. Oh, then I'm going to know exactly where you at with it. I want to know exactly what time it is. That's what I'm here for.
Let's take a victory lap, shall we? Just real quick. Yeah, that's something you and I were DMing about. So I'm very happy with us and how we've just handled this. I've received extraordinary pressure, as we usually do. In this case, it was like, you guys are miserable if you don't think this is great. Like, we're just like, look, man, like we approve of the early moves, but none of this is really indicative of what the next few years will look like. These are band-aids, just like what Phil did. Like, Phil had a couple, Connect's gone. Not doing that anymore. It's like, yeah. But then Phil started to buy stuff. That was the beginning, really, of like his reign. So I'm very happy with how we've handled this.
Yes.
Because we do get a lot of comments. We do get a lot of feedback. We listen. Our quote mistake. I don't think it's actually a mistake, but like what people would say is a mistake is we listen very closely. We like to talk to our community. We like to interact with them. A lot of passionate people out there. But I'm very happy that We stood our ground because this is where we get to truly, honestly assess and evaluate what she values and, what we think she is and isn't doing well for this brand, which again, some of this might just be long overdue. A lot of these studios' fates kind of hang in the balance. We don't know if, again, they're going to get shut down or spin out independently, or who's going to get laid off or who's going to leave as a result. A lot of that still hangs in the air, but this is a definitive moment for her, and I'm glad we didn't pull the trigger too early.
Yes. Yep. We didn't pop by. We went, oh my God, it's bad. It's time. And calm down, pump the brakes. Say, I got it, bro. I got attacked for not signing things. And I'm like, I'm not doing any of that until I'm not pledging fealty until this regime shows me that they can actually execute. And we will see. And again, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. The last thing I'll say is that there's a part of us that say maybe this is what needed to happen, but we got to see you execute before we start popping bottles.
I agree completely. We have this right in here from Starlight 137 Rocco, who says, hey, Dukes, my question is simple. What will be left of Xbox when Asha, Satya, and Amy are finished? I joined the Xbox ecosystem at the tail end of Xbox One's generation, and I've been very glad with the sheer variety of different games, genres, and experiences on offer. So many creative, games like Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, South of Midnight, Keeper, Hellblade 2, he puts in parentheses here, sorry, Maddie. As Dusk Falls and many more inspired me in different ways and gave the console a true soul. I have no interest in the Activisionization of Xbox. I like that term.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Definitely going to borrow that.
Fire.
If they consider all those experiences worthless in the future, and if they are now only focusing resources on known IP and huge AAA productions, then there is nothing left for me here. Look, I like Halo and Forza as much as the next guy, and they should definitely invest in those, but it can't be the only avenue. Staying up until 5 a.m. to watch my country get absolutely obliterated in the World Cup kind of day. Meanwhile, Herman's March writes, with the potential closure of these 3 satellite studios, many people are writing them off for their wasted potential or lack of direction. I have to wonder, is Xbox always going to be known for just Halo and Gears? What will it take for them to publish a new IP, not resurrecting one like Fable, but a completely new game that people can actually associate with their brand? Thank you both Herman's March and Starlight for writing in. I thought Herman's point really captured my brain a bit because it was a lingering thought that I'd seen sometimes pop up on social media or when I was streaming and talking about with chat. I saw it a couple of times. When I really read this, I'm like, this is a great point. This is the one thing that they really did fail to do. We know them for Halo, Gears, Forza. And that is really what it all comes down to. They have not successfully built, outside of Fable, another massive tentpole that I can really think of where I'm like, yep, that's Xbox. I got my weird ones. Don't get me wrong, dude. I'll bring up Blinks the Time Sweeper right now. I'll do it right now. I'll bring up Death Row. I got a ton of Oddworld, much as Odyssey, but these are deep cuts, bro. Small cuts. That's why I was actually really excited when they bought companies like Compulsion, because I was like, oh, this is so OG Xbox of them. But they never built beyond these core pillars, and these core pillars waned in popularity, or in the case of Halo, when they were dramatically mismanaged, it completely damaged the brand appeal. So what is left of Xbox? What is there for you, Cog, if this all comes to pass as we expect it to? How do you feel about the Activisionization, I got to get used to saying that, of Xbox? And what do you feel about their inability to build new IP, or of course, as we saw with the Initiative, new studios, and that they feel the need to buy them? And then in the case of at least Phil and Co., when they bought them, not use them.
Yeah, that part. I know. This is great. This is great. I love this question because, I'm going through this. I got two subcultures that I really have tapped into. It's Xbox, and then it's obviously the 49ers, right? I've tapped into all 49ers. And one of the questions that's going on with the 49ers right now during the Kyle Shanahan regime is they say, okay, he's great coach, but he hasn't drafted what we consider that top-notch superstar level player that's going to be a future core pillar, right? He drafted good players and he lucked out on Brock, but a lot of his draft picks were misses. That's been the conversation, right? So when you look at Xbox, my parallel is that, okay, you had these core franchises, but are now older, like the 49ers, the Kittles, the Warners, you know what I'm saying? There's certain people, they're good, but they're not as dominant as they once were. And you don't have that superstar level new IP investment that you go, okay, that's going to take us to the next level. This is something we can hang our hat on And that's the hard part here. And I'm torn, bro. I'm torn because with the old regime, one thing, bro, with Starlight Rocco, you speak it to my soul. Like,
Yeah.
I look at Hi-Fi Rush, bro. I've been bumping that
Such a
soundtrack.
mistake.
Such a good game, such an amazing game that was created during that thing. I look at Pentiment, even Colin during the thing. Like, we love that game. That game is so criminally underrated. South to Midnight, you know how I feel strongly about. I just wish it had a deeper combat system and skill tree. But I thought Hazel was a great foundational character. The platform and the music, I'm like, man, they got some. So to me, I look at it, but then the reality always comes back to me. Cog, you love it, but dumb joints ain't sell. Period. Like, yeah, corporate Cog looking at me like, you can like it all you like. That's not a pillar IP, especially based on the length of time for investment to you. You've always, I got to give you your flowers. Let me give you your flowers, first of all.
Oh boy, here we go.
Always been consistent. Even when I be like, all right, damn, Maddie, you don't like it like that. But you like, oh, the game took too long. We waited all this time for this. And I'm like, he right. With Hellblade, remember, it was shown at the Keeleys with the console. We thought we were getting this bombastic thing, right? And then it ends up being short. But I say all that to say this, in game development, when it takes too long, it doesn't hit, it's where we are. Despite me loving it and despite me loving game diversity. But now to the question, where do they land? What's left? My fear is what Jason Schreier is not saying. These are the three that we know of. Do we wake up? And I got to put it out there because I'm just bracing myself. Yeah. Do I wake up and we say, Dinga's gone? Arcane took too long. The Marvel license, you know how we saw the Insomniac leaks, right? Yeah. These are the questions. Do I wake up? Fergus, Obsidian, Grounded wasn't enough. Outer Worlds 2 wasn't enough. Avowed, we got some data, wasn't enough. Do I wake up? Like, when we look at the class of 2018, there's been 3 right now that's on the list that got X's going to in a bad way on their name, on their icon, on their JPEG.
Yeah.
How much more? And that's my fear, because then we could assume Playground is fine, right? But it's just like Rare is another one, right?
Yeah.
Also, now, because of the Senua situation, I'm going to be real dramatic, that changed a lot for me. Because now I'm like, all right, Undead Labs, you have shown this game, but we know they took mad long.
Yeah. They already admitted at the top of this year that they started showing the game when it was just a Google Doc.
How does a new regime who has no emotional ties say it took you what long to make what? And then let's just say, now we know it's coming to PS5 and they've announced it. It would be shocked if they pulled it. But what I'm trying to say is, even if they launch, do we get the subsequent, hey, still wasn't enough, all this, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. It just makes me reevaluate. And my fear, and this is where I judge this generation, once you strip this down that's too stripped down.
Oh man, we almost got him again.
I ain't gonna go there. Once you consolidate and you make the business leaner, which I understand, for profitability and small and run efficiently, fine. Because everybody said you were too big, you got too many students. Okay, we're doing it now. Okay, cool. What are the things you invest in to make the next core pillars? What are you invested? That's what I need to know. What are your decisions? And that's my biggest fear, because just like Starlight, I'm a gamer that likes a plethora of genres. I am not a one genre kind of gamer and just all high fidelity. That's all I play. That Xbox appeals to me for that. That's why it's my favorite ecosystem. I get a little bit of everything. It's like a buffet. I'm like, oh, this is great. I can try this today. I got steak this way. I got salad here. I got dessert. I'm like, ooh, I love it. Like I get excited. Like, oh, what's going on? And obviously Game Pass from a consumer standpoint, they got to prove to me that whoever they bring in, that's what if they start bringing in, I'm like, yo, let's just say, let's get a little positive. Let's just say this regime and the next, batch of games, and they find the next Expedition 33. and they global publisher, because she's talking about third-party deals and making things exclusive.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you show me your quality control, not just from small, because remember, what they need is big hits if you're going to go exclusive to make people buy. If you show a propensity to find big hits, then I will judge you like, okay, you're showing me something. Because one thing for sure with the past regime that I'll give them, and I'm done with rambling.
Very good.
As they started to when it came to the indie scene and God bless the last regime. They were killing it.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And whoever does the Game Pass day one stuff is also on that same kind of heater. Like they just do such a good job picking them out, bro. Game of the year contenders, like in multiple years, like just really good work.
Yeah.
Really good.
Now we need someone that has that same curation on the big side, but also developing for yourself. Can you do that? That has yet to be proven. So we'll see. That's where I'm at.
To answer the questions that we got a little bit about what will be left, and how I'm kind of feeling at it. I really had, again, to Herman March's writing about, I wonder if Xbox is always going to be known for Halo and Gears. I'll actually turn to this write-in as well, because it fills in a little bit of the gap in my thoughts here. This comes from John Hankey. He says, "Hey Dukes, with the Xbox reset and recent reports of studio closures or possible spinoffs, I keep thinking about a sliding doors question. Some of these studios that stay independent, would they have realistically survived in their current form? I don't say that to minimize layoffs because they're awful, but it feels like the previous Xbox regime let budgets, timelines, and scope get out of hand without sufficient accountability. Once Xbox had to operate more like a standalone business unit within Microsoft, rather than a subsidized content land grab, some correction seems inevitable. That said, I worry Xbox may be overcorrecting. Studios like Compulsion, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory are easy to question if the budget and timelines don't match the commercial upside. But with Obsidian and Outer Worlds 2, the $80 pricing decision felt more like Xbox Publishing leaving the studio out to dry than a game with a problem with the game itself. So my question is the reset a necessary correction after years of unchecked spending, or is Xbox at risk of cutting the exact creative diversity it spent years acquiring? And should the blame fall mostly on the studios or on leadership and greenlight process that allowed this to become so unsustainable? Hope you all have a Sam Darnold and Carl Anthony Towns winning championships while you're still the bridesmaid, never the bride kind of day."
He was doing good. So he had to get disrespectful with that Darnold. Yeah. That's too soon for me right now, bro.
I agree. I wanted to pick at the Outer Worlds 2 element here of John's write-in specifically. This is really good, John. So thank you for writing in. I worry about what we view as correction. I mean, again, I'm thinking of Asha Sharma, No Love Lost. I don't know who you are. I don't care who you are, frankly. I see the numbers on the sheet and they're not looking good. You're done. And that there's no consideration of choices that were made that led to these failures. I believe, and it is just a belief, I'm not selling it to all y'all like it's the best game ever, but I think Outer Worlds 2 would have done better if it was priced and marketed correctly.
Agreed.
I think Xbox put like 4 different bullets in that thing over time.
Facts.
And I don't care what anyone says about, I played it, and Maddie, totally fair. I respect your opinion on whatever that may be. I don't think having this be the game that led the charge for $80 games, in which the only other one that whole year was Mario Kart World, which also wasn't that good. So we didn't even see like a good bar get set. Putting it on your AA RPG is some of the top level foolishness that we've seen from that leadership group, or Satya or Amy. I don't know, but it's a collective. I don't think Asha's going to look at the paper and go, oh, they fucked them over on that. Like, okay.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah, that's what that was. I don't think the spreadsheet includes that, like, additional notes.
Yeah.
We put that as $80. There's no footnote.
Over. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Like, and I think there's a lot of situations with a lot of these teams where you can look at moments where I don't, like, as you notice, I do slightly, I think blame could be shared for some of these teams. I don't blame Obsidian at all. Well, everyone was getting their acts together. I don't care if they're not making profit, bro. They were making games, and a lot of them.
Facts. Efficiency, when nobody else was making anything. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and that's why when we talk about what's left, I worry about them, because I do believe that Phil and co looked out for them while things like Avowed, Outer Worlds, Pentiment missed, I do think they looked out for them and said, look, man, when we had nothing in 2022, you guys at least showed up. No one else did. And you guys showed up every year with something, multiple things. And I know Obsidian themselves has been self-critical and saying like, hey, us doing 3 games in a year, I think Sawyer himself was like, sign of a bad process. Like with time we did something wrong. Those should be spread out. And I respect that. But from the player point of view, I value them greatly because they give me things to play often. May not like Avowed that much, but I really like the Outer Worlds too. I really like Grounded. I loved Pentiment. Like I value the frequency of your ability to be in my life, like a good friend even. That's how I look at games. That's what I grew up on. I grew up on KOTOR 1, 2003, KOTOR 2, 2004, Sly 1, 2, and 3 within a 2.5 year span. Like that's what I know. That's how I get attached because I see you a lot. You're a presence. So someone like Obsidian, I worry a little bit about because I feel like their numbers are going to tell a completely different story beyond their actual impact. And I don't think this new leadership group cares because I think now that you're ripping the Band-Aid on more boutique studios, beloved ones, artsy ones that speak to the soul a little bit more, whether they hit or miss. The point being is that's their whole brand.
Yeah.
I feel like all bets are off.
Yeah.
And what's left after that? I mean, again, is it too late now to be like, that's the part I wonder about. The postmortem for this will be fascinating because I'm really curious about the honest coulda, shoulda, woulda of this all of like, is Obsidian or someone ex-Obsidian employees going to whisper to Schreier like, yo, we fucking begged for Fallout. Here's what actually happened on this phone call a year ago. Or are we going to hear like, yeah, man, we actually like just believed in that roadmap. We wanted to make our own thing. We trusted it, and that was it. Is there any regret on how IP was managed, on how projects were managed? Because that is like a shitty situation because I'm like, this could have been preventable, right? But with Xbox and what's going to be left, I think, the thing I worry about most is maybe some of this feels like necessary cleanup. But I've always said that like when I question things like compulsion, I'm like, look, dude, I also don't like the whole just one only experience. I respect people. I'll say for the millionth time, even though it's fallen on deaf ears, I totally respect if people love it. It's their type of game.
Facts.
I think it's a great type of game. I do love things like a Plague Tale Requiem, which is a hashtag just one experience out the wazoo completely. I just don't only want that from a publishing label with exceptions like Housemarque, like Astrobot, like I know, but the majority of that production is of a type of game that people love. And with Xbox, like I love that they were hitting all different notes for me. They kept things interesting. This could be the start of a much more boring Xbox. And I think that is really good for them. I don't think for them, they enjoy putting out this news and they know they've got podcasts like ours that get major traction. Like here's 3 hours of us just whooping the shit out of them. There are people who are not like us, who haven't been covering Xbox for years, who see, bad Xbox news. I'm getting in on that.
You're like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, good for business, baby. Yeah. Right? Like they know all of this, right? Satya Nadella literally said people monetize Xbox on YouTube more than Microsoft themselves, which I thought was hilarious. But
kind of hilarious.
My point being is that they're keenly aware of their situation. I'm sure they would like. I feel like with all the moves we're seeing and what we're predicting, I feel they are very much looking at PlayStation and going, we need low and slow, nice and quiet, steady production, talk when we need to, make games with our big IP and let them go do numbers. And that's that. You hear the talk of exclusivity, reliable pipeline, consistent pipeline. We talk about this removal of day one Game Pass. We saw PlayStation flirted with that one time. Horizon Forbidden West completely ate into that game's revenue. They were just like, never again. Yeah. Never again. Like, and it's just a distant thought for PlayStation fans. They never have to worry about it. So that, again, that's what I look at for Xbox. I think give them 3 years. If they keep it up with what they're going to have to do, I think they'll be insanely boring, but they'll also probably be much more successful. I think that is their ideal view, I should say, what they want to be.
Yeah. No, you're making a good point. And this is could be the sad reality of another inflection point or a gamer reset. We had the first one, what I consider with COVID, right? With the investment. And now what we're seeing is there's another course correction right now, which is like, hey, it's too many games. You know what I'm saying? That's one. There's not enough players. And, games, cost of development is expensive. And, we have to look at it like, okay, because even Matthew Ball has kind of hinted like, we did this to create a pipeline. We want to give you, I don't want to quote him like as far as 1 or 2 exclusive, but I got this sense like we're going to be doing this, every year kind of vibe is what I got from him, right?
Yeah.
So if the plan, which very sounds PlayStation-y, which is like, we're going to give you 2 exclusives, right? Like a year from our first party offerings or whether it be third party deals or whatever like that. It does sound like they're mimicking the PlayStation model. If we got to be honest, based on what we see optics. Now, this is my hope because I'm with you. I don't like a boring Xbox. I think we share that. What the hope is that if they could somehow utilize, because Game Pass seems like it's still going to exist in some form. They're not really ready to kill it just yet in the short term. So if it exists, let that be the home for the indies and the creativity. And what I'm hoping is that, okay, let's just say they make the tough decision to take the big tent poles out of day one Game Pass, which we understand is healthy for their business to survive in this new world. But you give us these cool AA and these cool indies and you keep the diversity there. That to me kind of represents a happy medium that, again, this is all wishful thinking. It's just what I'm hoping for. I understand tough choices are going to be made. And I think that's what's happening here. So, we'll see. The last thing is just that we haven't talked about, and I do want to be clear about it, is we're bracing for studio closures. We're bracing for closures we don't know of, right? That we all will shed a tear. There's going to be someone on this list. We're like, God damn, they couldn't save them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
The thing that we are forgetting, I feel that, not forgetting, just we haven't talked about, is I'm worried about for the people who survive, staff reduction, layoffs still for teams that we think are okay, right? And if you're not shut down, what if you're turned 10?
Yeah, support studio. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all you do now is help Playground. And again, not that, selfishly, we're not the motorsport bros, but you know what I'm saying? Where I'm going. There's going to be some people who, in order for them to survive, you're going to be stripped down to your very core team or small number and then be forced to kind of help out in very activization, right? Yeah. Remember what High Moon and what's the other one? Virtue? I forgot the other one.
Yeah, High Moon. There was, oh my God, what was the other one?
Forget their name now, yeah. Because they used to help out on
They made like Deadpool games and stuff. Oh, Beanox is one of them.
Beanox, and there was another one that used to help out when Destiny was part of, Bungie was part of Activision. It was these 2 support studios that would always help out on their releases who they used to have their own history of making games themselves, but now we got to get ready for that too. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. That's another reality. And that's what I worry about. Because what if that, again, it's a gift and a curse. What if Obsidian is like, you're the Fallout support studio?
Oh boy.
So part of me like, yeah, but they make the good ones, and I like that. And we're gonna get Fallout, right? You know what I'm saying? But do we lose? Again, I'm just hypothetically. You lose the Avowed too. You know what I mean? Well, me, I go crazy hard the street for Avowed. So I'm like, yo, all they need is a sequel. That's a foundation. You don't get to make that no more. But you got to do this. There's gonna be. I feel like there may be 1 or 2 of those, in addition to like a Bethesda. We already saw the ABK guy of the Treyarch guy, like generational. He's gone, right? There's gonna be staff reduction, and how does that affect studio culture is another big thing.
I want to talk about something Big Daddy Satya Nadella said. Let's read the full quote. It says, Asha is 100 days in, and she put out a post saying in the next 100 days, she is going to take a fresh look and make sure we deliver on what our fans expect of us, both on the hardware side and publishing side. The challenge for us now is to think about how do you innovate both in hardware as well as in the games going forward in a world in an economically viable way. We've invested a lot. No one can accuse Microsoft of not having invested for the last 25 years. And now we have to turn this into a sustainable business that delivers what is fundamentally one of the best sources of entertainment. The challenge is that that we have is that we've not been monetizing that entertainment. If anything, we've been subsidizing that entertainment. In fact, there's more monetization of Xbox games happening on YouTube than at Microsoft. Unfortunately, because of what's happening with the cloud and AI, by the way, I love this fucking line here. What's just happening over there? As if this motherfucker ain't like one of the most active contributors to the problem. He's like, the prices have gone up. That's what he says. Like, oh, whoa, you could do something about that. You could have. He says it's happening with PCs, it's happening with phones, and Xbox is impacted as well. The scarcity of semiconductor supply and memory in particular is having a massive impact on consumer electronics. That's a temporal thing that I think we'll get through. It is not going to be permanent. There is a permanent thing, which is what's the Xbox model going forward? PCs and consoles both have their place. Obviously, mobile has people playing elsewhere, and so we now have to bring it all together while staying true to what we've always done. We got a write in here from Video Games who says, "Hey Dukes, I'd love to get your thoughts on Satya Nadella's recent comment that Microsoft wants to monetize Xbox and no longer subsidize it. What practical options do they actually have? Raising Game Pass prices doesn't seem like a great solution considering the backlash from previous increases. Hardware pricing is already high due to the component costs, and increasing console prices further could hurt sales even more. A stronger commitment to exclusives might help drive engagement, but would likely reduce margins on some games. They could also raise game prices again, but consumer resistance has already been pretty evident there. Do you think putting ads in is the answer? Or is there another realistic path to making Xbox significantly more profitable? I'm curious what you think the most practical solution is for monetizing the Xbox business going forward, of which Matthew Ball did shut down the idea of ads in games, and that he wouldn't like it. But with what Sai is saying here, I mean, there's a lot to take away from here beyond the monetizing gaming. There's a level of like, he's kind of over the whole thing. That's kind of the tone. It's the read of the tone, like yeah, dude, look, we gave them what they needed. Like, they got to figure it out. As if this motherfucker did not get heavily involved and fuck the whole thing up. I'm not saying Phil didn't go out and sign the check for 70 million. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying here, as if like this guy wasn't like, these margins got to be crazy, dude. But like, tell you this historically has never been a thing though. Like, we can't do that. No, I don't care. Figure it out. Figure it out. Like, I just love the lack of accountability. It's straight up fucking hilarious, but. There's a little bit of indifference. We read this alongside the news of Xbox potentially spinning out like a GitHub, like a LinkedIn, where they're wholly owned subsidiary, like Sony is with PlayStation. Right. I view a little bit of this as like kind of done. A little bit of like, it's time to make money. Don't you get it, guys? Money. And he seems frustrated by it to the point where it seems like the days are numbered, truly. Yeah. What is your read of what Satya had to say here? And how does Xbox monetize gaming beyond selling you software?
The $1 million questions. That's why I do that.
They're all clearly looking for an option, right? They flirt with $80 games. We saw that appear. Everyone's waiting on GTA to be like, okay, normalize this thing. Please normalize this thing so we can do it as well.
Yeah.
What else can they do? What else should they do?
This is the toughest question. I do not envy this regime, bro. Like, we're in a RAM crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Partly responsible by this gentleman who literally pushed the whole company's initiative into AI and overinvestment. And they got the nerve to be like, yo, why is the rest of the business not doing what we're supposed to do when we
so
literally
funny,
blew the whole budget? Like, what? Again, it's mind-boggling. So there's a part of me that is an empathy for Xbox because it's just like, it is so unfairly treated in this house that has all these ridiculous expectations. It's like, bro, like, you knew what this was coming into, and you yourself said you were going to invest. Now all of a sudden, hey, Daddy, you ain't getting Daddy's wallet no more because, like that energy, like, you ain't getting no pocket money this week because, we got to see what you really do with your own. It's like, you created the goddamn problem. Like, you literally created it, put unnecessary pressure on the past regime, and now all of a sudden you confuse it and you want to see all this extra stuff. So I don't envy them. Here's the thing. How do you fix this? Obviously, with the hardware situation, the signals I'm getting from her, from Asha, is that Helix is going to fundamentally change on some level.
Oh, yeah. I think what we know about it now is completely old information.
I agree.
Whatever they presented, old information now.
Yeah. She's been maverick enough in her start to show me she is not have any problems changing course abruptly.
Yeah.
And if the old model was, you know, the DNA of PC and console, is that her model, right?
Mhm.
I know we had a crossover with Colin, you know, as far as like, is there a scenario or timeline where Helix becomes more of a traditional console? You know what I mean? Then as opposed to, you know, a thing which would then lead into the exclusive model and wanting to value the box and buy the box and hardware being more to the forefront. You know, I don't see them getting rid of the PC attachment per se, as far as pulling their games off Steam. I feel Steam is just too powerful, too much of a beast in this game. And the fact that they have Windows, there's still that synergistic connection. But we got to talk about the elephant in the room, which we didn't talk about, which is the subsidization part and the spinoff part.
Mhm.
The more I think about it, it could be the right call long term. It could be. The problem is, in the short term, the business is so unhealthy
Mhm.
that to me, they can't entertain that until they get to the level of health. Then once they get to the level of health, which is going to be all of this, you know, cutting down and being profitable, then maybe it's a situation of say, okay, we're healthy finally. The margins are coming back, they're decent, whether it be we've reduced hardware, we've done this exclusive model, but we're more of a smaller shop that focuses on these core things. And now we're showing the benefits of that. If you get to that point, and it may be hardware has to come down, it may be the exclusive thing situation, the day one Game Pass situation, there will be very difficult decisions. But if they, let's say they get there, I could see a world where they say, okay, you know what? We do the spinoff. You have the 51%, we have the 49 or whatever. We still get some help from you, right? It's
Yeah.
still a safety net, like how LinkedIn and GitHub helps, but you have to now be more cognizant of your spend. You have to be and you have to have the right people in place to do all that stuff. Like how PlayStation is, right? That it's a high. You cannot have these major mistakes. You just can't in that kind of world. I could see a world for that, but the realistic aspect of that, there's so many moving parts to that that takes years because you got to operate your own budgets, you got to do your
Yeah.
salary, that's a lot of it that entails. It's not as easy as a lot of gamers think. So yes, it could be a long-term play, but it just could be way farther out. So I just got to be honest. To the question, video games, I don't know. I don't envy this generation, this regime at all. I don't know how they do it. We gonna learn. As I said,
Yeah.
I'm sitting back. I got my popcorn. I want to see, because I will say this in a positive thing. If they pull that, she will be immortalized.
Yeah.
That would be Peter Moore level of you receive something that's on death's door, and like now you become a competitive. That's the thing. See, that's what I do like about it. I want to give them credit. I like that, they're willing to fight. They're going back to the like, wow.
Sure. Yeah.
Didn't see this in a million years. I was ready to pack this thing up, bro. It was over. So I'm like, all right, let's see. So let's see what are the top level strategies to get you to Providence. I would love to know what this is.
Yeah. I feel like there's going to be some sort of additional revenue driver, whether, I don't know, it'd be like ads on your dashboard more frequently, or just more in-game product placement. Like we just saw EA opened up EA advertising, and like they were just basically selling, I don't know if you saw this, but they're basically selling ad slots in their sports games now.
Oh,
So
wow.
you can get real world ads in these sports games, and they're going to do them like how you would see it in, I don't know, you're watching like any NFL game, like you see it on like the sidelines, you see it
Right,
in
right,
the
right.
signs in
Gotcha.
the crowd.
Mhm.
It's organic, but it's also like as if they didn't make enough fucking money. Like now you got dudes who are gonna like, oh, evergreen advertisement, perfect, cool. Like we'll pay for it. So I feel like there's gonna be something there, some type of catch there, where I feel like ads in games is something that they're trying to push something that's like free. It doesn't change how much you pay, but there's gonna be some type of catch there. Otherwise, I think we could be seeing the main thing they're targeting right now, which is budget.
Yeah.
I've always said that, when Phil had the whole go everywhere plan, it's talking about it in like 2019, I think is when he started mentioning it. I was always like, well, eventually you're going to hit whatever, even if the ceiling between where you're at now and all the way up there 90 floors higher, there's still a ceiling. So eventually you're going to hit that, and you've not addressed the core issue of why you're reaching new users, which is how much you're spending per person, where you're allocating your talent, the IP you're working with, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like part of this resetting, and seemingly from Xbox's point of view, I'm not calling it that, but shedding off what they would consider dead weight and focusing on heavy hitters that are more lean operators, is I think they're going to run tighter teams, which will have a smaller budget. And I do think, like, look, dude, I do think like the AI boogeyman is coming here. Like, I do think this is going to be them really embracing that tool set with smaller teams that are, quote, more capable when empowered by these tools, end quote. I think this is really the start of that. I think, well, I should say the start of it. We've seen other teams using AI. There are plenty who use it now that we just don't know about. Like, it's just a thing. And, you know, look, dude, I'm not even saying it from a doomer standpoint, but this is like someone who has an AI background. She brought in her whole core AI team. I you know, it's not like Xbox was really shy about it beforehand.
Right.
I feel like it's going to be more bullish now. And I feel like because
Generative?
to get the profit margins, generative, yeah, probably.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, I mean, Dasha's saying it'll lead to a whole new genre of games. Like so there's probably some plan to use like their IP to like basically what Disney was thinking about doing at one point, where they were going to let people make their own shorts on their Disney Plus platform with their characters. And like, you know, I think they're believers in that idea to some extent. Maybe not put the whole front of the business on it, I don't think, but I think they know better than that. Don't get me wrong. But when I say AI, I do mean just efficiency. Yeah. You know, what people view AI as in the most idealistic circumstances of just like making games quicker, better, all that stuff. I think this is the beginning of them embracing it, where they're going to really slim down, get more efficient, focus on big IP and run a more lean operation with the heavy hitters that are going to generate ridiculous profits, probably get rid of day one Game Pass. So you're all buying the games and they can count on that stuff. And then Game Pass is going to be supplemental income. And that could be it. I mean, that could definitely save them, because then, okay, we need diversity. We're too much of these things. Okay, well, PlayStation, you know, again, they have like, here's your God of War, here's your Horizon, here's your Ghost of Tsushima. You know what these things are. But, oh, we need something a little bit like different. You know, okay, go take a checkbook and write it to one of these teams and go buy their game. Just like they went and got adjacent games like Stellar Blade or Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I think, I think a lot of this I think reset might end up being the right word when it's all said and done years later, because I think it might come down to just us going back to basics. Like, there is a level of feeling, if you pay attention to parts of this industry right now, there is a level of us returning to the beginning of this cycle. I think about what we read with the Game Pass rumors on how we've been so far away from certain things in our society that we're treating them as new. Everyone's looking there like, oh, this like a la carte, pick your own plan thing for Game Pass. I'm like, oh, cable, huh? Yeah, like that, right? Okay, so we're going back to that, where we get to, you know, because subscription has become so, it's bogged everything down. We're paying month for month for literally every bit of entertainment in our life. Like, okay, I get to pick that now, what entertainment I want out of the package, and I get to pay a price according to that. Smaller teams, frequent releases. We're seeing CD Projekt Red go like, hey, we're not doing DLC. We're doing 3 games in 6 years. 3 full mainline Witcher games in 6 years. Practically unheard of nowadays, right? We haven't seen anything like that since 360 PS3 days. So I'm starting to see like ways people are talking, ways people are operating, ways they're moving, things we're saying, the value of game sales, PlayStation leaving it, going back to exclusivity, like the multiplat isn't worth it. I wonder if we've learned the lesson that I've said for fucking years on this show, which is like, how much is enough? And I think with Corpse, it's a tougher conversation to have, because it's just like, you're making a lot of money usually. You know, like when you look at Xbox, they're still making a lot of money. And when they cut these deficiencies or things they view as deficient, and they decide like, okay, now we get the money makers, they're going to be making a lot more money. The question is, will that be enough? And that's where, when Microsoft pressure exists, that is a problem. Could you argue that if they spun out and did their own thing, we all dream of the scenario. I saw it immediately in my chat. People were like, oh, Sega's got to get involved on this, bro. Like let Xbox spin out. Sega becomes a key investor.
Let's go.
the dream box is real.
Woo,
Like,
let's go.
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly, dude. That would be such a moment. I'm rambling at this point, but I guess what I'm seeing is a lot of things coming back to the center again and wondering if we've learned that, hey, like, dude, you can make millions in this business. You can even make billions.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's realistic to expect entertainment to always be this straight inclining line. I think you have to plan for your plateaus and your dips accordingly, that you have to give yourself an opportunity to reset to the market and what they want. Marvel is a perfect example. You rode that Marvel high all the way to Endgame.
Facts.
But there is a collective societal, we're ready to move on to something new.
Yeah.
And we're ready to miss this for a little bit and then come back to it with now Doomsday, a new Spider-Man movie this year. Like, it's exciting. Okay, cool. Right. There are people who take it, the missing it to an extreme. Todd, I'm looking at you. But yeah, I just wonder if we've learned how much is enough. That's all I've got to say on how Xbox could monetize their business.
Yeah, final point. I think you made some fantastic points. And I think that what they're going to be looking at with the Asha and regime is that the inefficiencies and how can they be more efficient, cost cut. I think one thing that will be looked at is the Nintendo model and how they've been able to navigate things, right? And some, was it like license out to smaller teams to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's also going to
randomly doing an Ultimate Alliance 3. Fuck it, why not? Just Ultimate Alliance 4 could be,
hey, I'm all for that. You know what I'm saying?
That was during the Activision era of Marvel games. I'm just saying.
Facts. Bro, I love that, man. So it's just like, now there's going to be two things are going to happen. That one that you've already mentioned that I think gamers are not going to like, but I think is going to be the harsh reality. You talked about the AI push, right? I think, yes, from a core standpoint, development team, tooling to make more things, quote unquote, efficient. But we're going to have to get ready for what I think is going to be a fundamental shift, which is smaller studio teams. And that we're going to start to see, in my opinion, more contractors.
Oh,
yeah, probably. We're going to see more contractors than full-time play. And again, I'm not anti-contractor. My only issue is just, team synergy and efficiency, and that, how fast they coming in and coming out on projects, what I'm saying, to keep that level of, obviously, I always look at the Halo Infinite situation, but in fairness to, the contractors there, they had to learn some bespoke proprietary engine, right? As opposed to being Unity masters and Unreal Engine masters, right? Where that is a generality that most people have that skill set contractually, right? So that's going to happen. I'm looking at the PlayStation model in terms of the exclusives. They talked about the third party, I'm gonna call it the money hat deals, the third party exclusive. That's how I remember it. But I also look at a situation like Helldivers, where it's like, hey, you help the development of this existing team that's making this thing. You now put it part of your Xbox Global Publishing family, and it becomes a success. So maybe you don't buy them outright, but you see the title, you're like, okay, we'll help fund the development, but it'll be exclusive to us, and it ends up becoming this big thing. We may start to see more of that. And then, the other things we've already been redundant on, which is the getting back to them, people buying the games on the platform as opposed to the platform being an encouragement to just wait for a Game Pass thing, where it's like, okay, day one, you're going to have to buy this if you want to support said thing. I think we'll see that. But yeah, it's going to be some major changes. And I do think a lot of those things will factor in ultimately, to part of this whole reset, the next 100 days, as they're calling it.
I also wonder if there's a analysis of how, I know it's an easy game to look at and adore everything that happened with it because it's such a, we were talking about at the start of the show, the Cinderella story, but Expedition 33 is a great example of you don't have to spend a lot to make a lot. And there's many, and that was on the higher end, right? That was like high end AA kind of production, just on the fringe of AAA in some ways, but you could see like places where they kind of like skimped and in the right ways, might I add.
Yeah.
It's a $50 game. As far as we know, from April this year, it sold 8 million copies. This is dirty math, and it's definitely not accurate because there's sales you got to account for, whatnot. $50 a pop, $400 million in revenue. Okay, we don't know how that, again, how much is actually made through sales.
Contractors for the
contractors. let's split this up with the, okay, we used Unreal Engine, we're paying that fee, publisher takes this much, we don't know what developer take home is, but we're looking at a $10 million to $12 million operation. That's how much it cost to make what was considered game of the year last year. And it sold 8 million copies to a dirty math sum of $400 million. Pretty, I don't know, dude, do all your cuts. It's a pretty fucking insane set of margins.
I think many people would love that.
Exactly. I think they're looking at that. They're like, if we just, they have seemingly no intent to grow.
Right.
So they're like, oh, we could make like 5 expeditions, flop 5 times, and probably still be good. And that's a really great feeling to have. That's creative empowerment.
Yes.
And I wonder if that is what the industry is realizing, is that you do not need I think we just saw Ubisoft go through a ton of layoffs, but I do not think these behemoths of an operation are sustainable. And I'm not even just cherry picking again, something like, I'll speak from, because I think this will be more receptive. People will be more receptive to this experience I've shared before. Now that it's very topical, right? When I had my first experience pitching games, I by the way, I'm going to indie pubs, so we're not looking at like at the time these major publishers that we know I talk about a lot on my channel. These are smaller names, some of which like I'd only heard of for the first time when I was familiarizing myself with their portfolio and whatnot. And one of the common things that you learn is, number one, these publishers shop a lot by trend, as in like what they think will be a growing genre, so that they can catch a wave. The other thing that I learned when it came to these publishers is that they were looking for, they would rather, and again, our budget is not crazy, but they would rather, even for a budget of ours that's not crazy, they would even look at that and then other projects that are being pitched to them that's like, $100K here or, 50K here. And they would rather take a chance on all those what you would call little fish.
Right.
Because they looked at something like, to my understanding, a Balatro, which was like a small operation.
Yeah.
Or an Inscription, another small, I think Inscription was one person. Stardew Valley, of course, being the best example of this, like very small operation. And they're like, okay, if we can get, we can either spend one Maddie game, which I'm sure it'll do fine, right? I'm sure I don't know. You don't get to see these talks. One Maddie game, or a bunch of these smaller ones that are more, if you think of Balatro, more systems driven. Okay. A Shadow of Doubt, more systems driven, more sandboxy, fun, shareable, pick up and play, cheaper to maybe make in some cases. Like, we can fund a bunch of these, and if one of them, it's the same thing as the live service stuff. If one of them catches, off we go.
Yep. And
that was on the indie side of things. Like, they, again, I think we, myself included, love the indie scene.
Hell yeah.
But they bargain bin hunt the same exact way AAA does, just in a different
way. Yeah.
Mindset. Yeah. So I wonder if the way we're seeing these massive successes with these small teams and the money that is made, the green's all the same.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're really taking a look at, now on the highest level, something like Expedition, on the smaller levels, something like a Balatro, and just saying like, it's time to go lean. And again, I think they even have it in their own first party. Grounded's a perfect example of this. That was a 13-person team that produced Obsidian's best performing game this gen.
Facts.
Like, I can't imagine they're looking at it going, why are we? I don't blame them at an extent if they're like, why are we spending on something like the Outer Worlds 2? Because for me, I'm like, because RPGs are way fucking better, dude. That's why. But I get why they might look at those and go, I don't know about this, man. Like, from a business point of view. So I feel like that could be is assessing these smaller operations and truly realizing like, these things make a shit ton of money, dude. They have legs, and people, as players, I think we value the smaller operations because we actually get to connect with these creators and understand their intent, and they communicate with us so we can actually give feedback and watch the game change.
Right.
And there's actually a chance of being heard. And I think that's also valuable. So I wonder if that factors in, but my long little tangent on why I think the lean operation from Xbox is a result of what we've been seeing over the last kind of couple of years here, where low and slow is kind of going to win the day.
Yeah, we have some examples, and I think they definitely want to look into that. The lean and mean vibe is something that I think corporations would love to dive into. The other part I was going to say that I forgot to mention on the outside of the software part is I do want to mention that as far as one of the questions was hardware and how they evaluate that. We did talk about maybe Helix metamorphosizing, becoming cheaper. The other thing that I forgot to mention is that OEM. I think OEM becomes right back on the table. When we have,
Mhm.
how we have the Asus, we have an Asus
Oh yeah.
Xbox that maybe does not have the first party, the backward compatibility, but it plays all the current generation, your stuff from that standpoint to get people in as options where you still have
Sure.
Helix as first party Xbox device, back compat, your library comes with you. But hey, you're new to the ecosystem. You want to get Elder Scrolls 6 or whatever new game is out at the time of Helix's launch. Hey, we've got the Asus and the Samsung Xbox right here for the smooth price of, you know what I mean? And that could be other options that they're looking at as far as trying to bring hardware down so that, because I'm old. I come from the 3DO era, and it was a weird console because I love that. It was a 32-bit era, but it was weird to say I'd never seen a console say, yo, we make it, we're EA or the Panasonic. Yo, we got the Gold Star one, and we got the other. We got these other models. I was like, interesting. I never saw that before, and I'm. It'll be interesting to see if that is flirted with to also give options at cost. Because what last point is they look like they're flirting with what you were saying with remember the Xbox All Access and
Oh yeah.
these type of
buy now or get it now, pay later kind of thing.
exactly these type of programs to try to, again, the cost of entry is so prohibitive, right? To try to get people in. So we'll see. But these are all things that I think they will be flirting with.
I agree. You got anything else you want to talk about? I feel like that's kind of it.
That's it, man. We hear the dust is, bro, between now and June 30th. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they jump earlier. I don't think they can because it's kind of like they're negotiating right now. They're probably waiting till the absolute last minute at the end of the quarter because this is all setting things up for the fiscal year ends for them. So I think they just have to take all these hits.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's anything they can do.
Nothing they can do. And I just want to, I know we've been talking about the business. Just want to shout out the human element for anyone who, from a corporate side that I know how this is. No one wants to show up to work. You're dreading each email that comes in. And then for the people who do survive, there's guilt, there's survivor's remorse, right?
Yeah.
But, the hope, and we know this is idealistic, I'm not being unrealistic. The hope is that some of these studios will get a chance to either go independent or, be able to keep their IP. We see situations like Toys for Bob, which I'm very happy for, when they're able to do a new Spyro game and stuff like that. We see a situation with Hi-Fi Rush where, we didn't like the Tango was shut down, but hey, we got Craft on, they were given home. I'm just hoping that it's not lip service and that these are true negotiations as opposed to, yo, we just shutting you down, B, and it's like there's no path for you. And that's all I hope, because this is generational knowledge and luminaries that will be lost and teams that will be forever shuttered and may never come back to the games industry. And I always want to pay respect to that and hope that they land on their feet.
Perfectly said. I don't think I can add anything to that other than just wishing people who are in this situation the best, man. It sucks that I think the best thing Xbox could do after this is just keep the ground steady beneath everyone's feet. Not good working on a project where everything's always shifting. So I'm wishing them all the best, man. And we'll be here, no doubt, to report on it. But good luck to everyone involved. That's all I feel I can really say, because I just feel anything else is just, it's not going to really permeate. It's just I just hope it all goes as best it can.
Absolutely.
Cog, let's wrap this thing up.
Yes, sir.
Hashtag for the week. What do we do?
Oh, I know it's weird because it's not the death blow yet, but it's like pending doom coming. So I don't know what to
pending
do.
DD. I mean,
yeah, I guess
that seems like the word right there.
Yeah, it's just pending. Yeah, we're waiting. Yeah, we're sitting there waiting.
Yes. All right, let's do it. Hashtag pending DD. You can tag us on Twitter or use the comment section down below. Let us know when you got to the end of the episode and how you felt about things. Cog, anything else you want to get off your chest as we wrap this thing up?
Another fantastic Duke, man. We've been in this before. We know how this goes. It's our healing session, our therapy. We talk it through with the realm of the Dukes, man.
Absolutely. Guys, we appreciate you being here. Always a blast. I can't really say I feel much at this point. I just am like, I've gone through all those different phases of like, I'm tight about it. I'm apathetic. Famous last words at this point, because the curveball, if I've said before, if the curveball hits me just right, Angry Maddie's not here. I'm just like, okay, this is like what it is, I guess. But I'm just like, man, if I see like my goat get taken out.
Give me one. I need a crash out because I know my crash out. What's your crash out?
I think Obsidian shutting down.
Oh, I'm going to crash the F out.
Yeah. I just think that is a distinct lack of loyalty that makes you not a trustworthy partner. I think Obsidian would make me crash out. Todd leaving. Active immediately. That would to me be this is the biggest company, man, in the industry. This guy leaving Bethesda Game Studios would be like, I'd be low key a little hype, but I'd be like, oh, is he gonna go like indie? But if it's like I'm retiring, I'm not coming back. I'm like, you ended my goat's career. Yeah, that would be tough. That would be another one for sure. Yeah,
those two for sure.
Those two are what? Do you have additions? Crash out list additions.
No, Obsidian. I go to war for Obsidian. I fight for the Black Rock, bro. I will. Yeah. That would be grown man tears, and I will crash out angry. Yeah, because I would just be like, bro, like. That's all they were the model of efficiency. I get hits. I get that. But they still got one coming. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
They were marketable enough where they were, while they did not hit, they still garnered some player attention. So
yeah, that would be the one for sure.
I agree. Well, crash out pending. We'll see where it all goes. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, stay frosty out there. I'm sure by the time this episode hits, there will be more news that we'll talk about the following week. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you next week for episode 286 of Defining Duke and Xbox Podcast. And until then, peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox Podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Maddie's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.